Nevertheless, we'll go ahead and get the program into full swing. Now, the title of this piece may sound slightly inflammatory. Nevertheless, question worthy of discussing, something for us to ponder, and that is President Biden putting America at risk? Why would we be asking that? Well, the question is twofold. There is two separate reasons why we're discussing whether putting the country at risk. Number one, we're talking about a safety risk, folks. We're talking about a risk where people could end up losing their lives, possibly. Is Biden putting America at risk? That's the title of the piece. Why are we asking that? Right off the bat, we could talk about the border, but I'm not going to automatically jump into the category where all immigrants coming across the border are coming to rape and murder people. We're not going to go that far with it. But when I ask, is Biden putting the country at risk, we do have to acknowledge if millions of people are coming across the border, 100% of them are not coming to do good. I'm not going to pretend like, whereas Trump might suggest 90% of them are rapists and murderers or something crazy. Yeah, there are going to be some people that are harmful to this country. But why am I asking, is Biden putting America at risk? It's not just border related, but the border ties into it. No one on the world stage, not a single member of NATO, not a single ally to this great nation, favors what Israel is doing right now. The entire world, every country on the globe, is against Israel's continued onslaught in Gaza. America is the sole holdout. And they're the ones supplying Israel all the damn weapons too. But America is the only country on earth that still has Israel's back in its ongoing on the Gaza Strip. So when we ask, is Biden putting the country at risk, it's twofold. Anyone that is upset with Israel is likely to be upset with America because we are co-signing what they're doing. Unlike Israel, though, we're letting millions of people come into the country that has been unvetted. So when I ask, is Biden putting America at risk, backing Israel, which is incredibly unpopular, while leaving the borders fairly unprotected, a 1-2 punch of sorts. So right off the bat, leads to the question, is what Biden doing putting America at risk? Because a hell of a lot of folks on the planet do not like what America is doing when it comes to aiding, assisting, and to some degree covering up for Israel. Everybody would agree October 7th in Israel was a travesty. Israel has the right to defend themselves. But most of the world, if not all of the world, minus the United States, feels that Israel has went above and beyond self-defense. At this point, it is just vengeance be ours. Some suggest a genocide, using food as a weapon, starving people to death. America is co-signing all of that while letting millions of folks come in the country from all around the world with no sort of accountability for who they are. Is Biden putting America at risk? That's going to be our first topic. Also going to be asking, in regards to President Trump, most folks know the plan is not to defeat 88 criminal charges. The plan is to delay. The plan is to delay. Why does he want to delay them? So that hopefully Trump can become the commander-in-chief later this year and then interfere with his own criminal court cases. So we're going to be asking a simple question. Would it be corrupt of President Trump to interfere with his own criminal prosecution? Is it corrupt for a politician to interfere with their own criminal prosecution? Is that an act of corruption? Going to talk about that. Last but not least, we only have two topics generally, but this is kind of a third one. It's a side note. We may not even cover it much. For some of you folks who watch NCAA women's basketball, the big, huge rivalry between Caitlin Clark of Iowa and Angel Reese of LSU. Before that game, LSU, Louisiana State University, they did not come out during the national anthem. They did not come out to stand during the national anthem, LSU. Simple question. Do you believe, because this is something that the NCAA is contemplating, do you believe athletes should be forced to be patriotic? They should be forced to respect the anthem, come out, stand, forced patriotism. What say you? That's what we're going to be discussing today. As always, the program is forever will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are always my preferred guest. You know how the program works. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. Nevertheless, liberals are always welcome on the program. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. So it's an open forum. You're going to hear comments, your favorite comments you think are ridiculous. Everyone gets to speak. That's how we do it. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section or yours truly. Nobody gives a damn if you disagree with everyone. You still get to speak. That's how the program has always been ran. Looking in the comment section, Johnny Lowe says, take the anthem out, a distraction. How many of you folks might agree? Get rid of the national anthem at sporting events. That way you don't have the distraction of who stands, who does not. How many of you folks are going straight to the box? Appreciate you folks that are already tapping the screen, and it does look like, I don't know what's been wrong with TikTok, but already I'm having some issues with it. Damn. Wow, because I can't scroll, I can't do anything. Real quick on the YouTube side, what criminal charges are we talking about? Because all of those charges are bogus. J. Shoddy, I think that says, in regards to Trump's charges, all of them being bogus. You could be right. But here's my opinion. Just like Trump has the right to have his day in court, so does the prosecution. If you feel ahead of time that Trump is already guilty and should be thrown in jail, you're biased. If you feel the other way, that he is completely innocent and did nothing wrong without ever hearing the prosecution, you are biased as well. Is all Trump charges bogus? You haven't heard the evidence. There's no way to come up to that conclusion. You haven't heard witnesses testifying. You got somebody that is flipped, taking immunity. You don't know what the hell he's going to say. How could you deem him innocent before any information comes out? How is that not being just as biased as some liberal that wants to convict him? You're doing the same thing in reverse. Looking in the box, we'll try to bring up Stick the Ruler if the app allows. I'm having problems really bad on TikTok already. Looking at the comments, all of Trump's charges are not bogus, says Thomas Booker. You could be right as well. Every charge that Trump is facing could be bullshit. Every charge that Trump is facing could be legitimate. But you have to give a prosecution a chance to present their case. You have to give Trump a chance to present his defense. If you've already made up your mind, whether for or against Trump, you're biased, period. A lot of liberals are biased and believe Trump should be thrown in jail. A lot of MAGA, just about all of MAGA, believes he's innocent without hearing any of the evidence. That's equally biased. Jay Shoddy says, agree to disagree. I don't see how you can disagree before hearing any evidence in reference to Trump. You have heard, they haven't presented a case. The white, what is it? The white, what is the guy? No, Jack Smith. Jack Smith hasn't presented his evidence. You haven't heard any of that. You haven't heard any of the witness testimony, unless the plan is just to dismiss everybody who says any damn thing that's ill of Trump. But that's bias. That is being biased. We're having problems on TikTok. I do appreciate you folks that are here, but I can't see any of the comments. I can't get the app to come up to go to the box. Real quick on TikTok, I'm going to try to reset the app and bring it back up. I had the same problem yesterday. And yeah, it's really just jacked up. So give me a moment. I'll reset the app on TikTok and we'll continue on YouTube for the interim. Looking in the comments on YouTube, it's harder to believe the accuracy of the charges when some of the crap thrown at him is goofy. Boy who cried wolf is Trump's strongest shield. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But here's the issue though. The boy that cried wolf's story features somebody crying wolf, lying about it, and now nobody will ever believe the boy once he cries wolf. Even in the story of the boy who cried wolf, he eventually gets eaten by a real damn wolf. So he was not lying throughout the story. But he had folks like yourself that believed because he cried wolf so often, he would never be credible. But in the actual story of the boy who cried wolf, he ultimately got eaten by a wolf. So that is not a good example. I might reference. That's not a good example. Looking in the comments, Stick Darula, I'm resetting TikTok. Resetting TikTok. So I did try to bring you in the box there, Stick. I do see you here on YouTube. We'll reset it, see if it makes a difference. Last couple of days I've had a problem on the app. I don't know what's going on. Loser, just kidding. I do it to everybody. It's a joke. I bet you do it on April Fools, but I didn't get, okay. Looking in the comments real quick. Please don't talk, just be quiet. I'm asking you to be quiet, says Arkayla. The simple solution is just log out. You get all the silence you want. Something I think Dem and Republicans can agree on is harder and harder to be patriotic each year. I like that, Stefan. I like that comment. So what do you guys think? Forced patriotism in school sports? Should the children be forced to stand and patronize Old Glory? Do you believe in forced patriotism? All right, resetting TikTok in 3, 2, 1. We're back on. I'll see if it works. Let me see. In the box we have Guide of the Blind, I think that says. Do appreciate you folks that have held on. There we go. Guide. Good
afternoon.
Hey.
You know, they're talking about Trump, and one thing they're not speaking about. They're not speaking about that laptop that they got from the FBI. That's one thing they're not going to open.
What do you mean?
That laptop that they found Hunter Biden and all the collusion up there, they won't open that laptop. 4 years now, they still investigating that laptop. Because they know that if they open the laptop, it's over. And they know that.
I don't know. First question I want to know is, do they have a right to do that?
Yes, they do. They're investigating. The reason they won't do it because they say they're investigating. That's why they won't release it.
I don't just, you may have a point. You may have a point.
Excuse me.
You there? Okay. Apparently my customer, or my caller had a customer. Real quick, I'll just respond to him in regards to the laptop, even though I had to drop him because he had a call. He could be right, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're stalling with the laptop. I mean, how many of us support Trump doing exactly that? What do you think Trump is delaying his cases for? For the same reason, is that he thinks in the future he'll be in a position that's more advantageous. If they get access to Hunter Biden's laptop 3-4 years from now, tell me how Hunter Biden won't be in a more advantageous position. Here's my take on the whole laptop thing. It's going nowhere. Biden is president of the United States. He's going to pardon his son if there's anything significant on there. And now that Trump has made it clear, he intends to pardon himself if drama happens. Biden's going to do the same thing. So nothing's going to come out of that. But I understand people wanting to get to the bottom of it. But before Biden leaves office, just issue a blanket pardon to his son. Trump would do it. You would do it. Your parents would too. Hunter Biden's not going to jail. I mean, it's as simple as that. Just issue a blanket pardon. If Biden loses in November, he is still president till January when Trump would be sworn in. He has 2 months. Just pardon your son. If Biden wins in November, he no longer has to run for president again. Not concerned with any ratings or polls. Pardon your son. So he's going to, if there is something there where they can prove on Hunter Biden now or even 10 years in the future, if Joe Biden knows there's something there, he's just going to pardon his son. It's that simple. In fact, and DJ Julio, yeah, thank you for the hat and mustache. In fact, just to prevent his son from going through investigational drama, he's likely to pardon him. Just throw out a blanket pardon. Even if he didn't do anything wrong. In regards to Ukraine, Burisma, any activities considering said relationship is hereby pardoned Joseph R. Biden. Just sign it. That way, nothing is going to come out of that that's going to hurt his son. And it would kill any future investigation. What's the purpose of investigating this? He done already got a pardoned. They can issue blanket pardons. So nothing's coming out of that. Going back to the box, and I would submit to you, once Biden is no longer president, the stuff against Hunter Biden is going to go away. It's political, just like some of the things against Trump. Moving the program on. Stick the ruler. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Hanson. What's going on with it?
Not much. I'm going to ask you the lighter question first. Forced patriotism. Should college, high school athletes, professionals, should they be forced to patronize the flag?
No. I think that most kids and or young adults that go to college are at least 18 or older. If they can go to the military and be basically not really forced, because now it's voluntary, but if they can volunteer for the military, they can volunteer whether they want to do the patriotic thing and or the American thing or whatever you want to call it. I don't think it should be somebody else. You have to do this.
Yeah.
They're 18, they're adults, they already have to pay taxes. So, I mean, they already have to do this or have to do that or have to get a driver's license. So now that I'm old enough to say I can do what the hell I want to do, you telling me I have to stand up and put my no, hell no.
Yeah. I see in the comments, I see somebody said they disagree, says Lisa, but I'm with you. The countries that force you to be patriotic are like North Korea. Obviously, under the Third Reich, you had to salute the guy and all that. If you can't call yourself a free country if you're forcing people to do stuff.
And I would agree. Like when I was little, we did have to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag and all of that good stuff. We had the song "I'm Proud to Be an American." They would play that as well. I went to basically all military schools in the sense that I was a military brat, and I ended up joining the military myself. But I feel like just like the Ranger came up with the knee for Colin Kaepernick, I feel like that it really doesn't matter that World War II happened or anything like that happened, because countries go to war all the time. Now, should you support your country? Of course, especially if you were born here and or you migrated here and they showed you love. Of course, it's automatic, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, what's not automatic is my allegiance. Just because I'm here in this country does not mean I have to pledge allegiance to this country. Doesn't mean that I have to stand up and I'm a grown ass person and have to show allegiance to anybody or anyone. So, no, I don't agree with that. I think the NCAA is crossing boundaries. I get it. When they're high school, you can kind of just say, hey, look, this is the right thing to do. When you get older, it's going to be your choice.
Yeah. I don't even know if I was supported in high school. But real quick, in regards to this question, Steven in the comments, just to be provocative is how you started this. Just to be provocative, do I have to stand for the Black national anthem? I'll let you have that one.
I mean, I don't stand for the Black national anthem. I mean, I guess you don't have to. I mean, again, to me, it's a choice. It's not one of those things where it's a given. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think anything is a given. I don't think just because you were raised in America that it's a given that you have to show allegiance. No, it's not like that, because you have people that, let's just say Malcolm X. Do you think that his allegiance at one point or at any point in his life was to the United States? No, it was not. Yeah. And back then, you could if you could do that back then in the 50s or 60s, and before he was born, you can do it now. You can still be that person.
You know, and this is here's what I said that I didn't understand. I did a video on this about, you know, not standing for the anthem is disrespectful to the flag, or the Black national anthem is disrespectful to the actual anthem. When Trump comes out and says, please rise for the January 6th hostages, and he's singing the anthem with a bunch of felons in the background, or he's tweeting out a picture with the president hog-tied with the flag in the background, I've gotten to the point, Stick, that I don't know what qualifies as disrespecting the flag anymore. Taking a knee is disrespectful, but putting the president hog-tied in the back of a truck with the flag on the top of it is not. So I don't know where to draw the line on any of this anymore.
Well, you do know where to draw the line. That's why you're saying what you're saying now, because you're confused. Like, hold on, wait a minute. I always thought the standard was this. Now you're showing me all of this other stuff, and then the person that's showing you all this other stuff is actually the ex-person that should have been in the back of the truck tied, the hog tied up. So it's just one of those. You can raise the bar or you can lower the bar. With Trump, he's always lowered the bar. You know, even Michelle Obama says when they go low, we go high. So, I mean, that just tells you right there, he always is the low person.
Wow.
Every time he's quick to suggest that you are evil or you're nasty. That's one of his words, nasty. But at the end of the day, nastiness didn't come out until you said it. Let's just be honest. Just because a person doesn't allow you to lie to them, because it's mostly reporters that he does this to, and on top of that, they're Black women reporters. So he calls them nasty. He calls them out their name. He's letting them know exactly who he is by being nasty and being the nasty one. But again, the MAGA supporters, they're so wanting to be mad at somebody, they don't actually see what it is. Wow. And maybe they do see what it is. They're just happy about being mad at somebody. I don't know. That's what it's looking like. I mean,
so let me ask you one. I want to run this one more before I move it on from you. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy on up to about 25,000 in the likes. Low number right now. I assume that may correct, but certainly tap the screen. The question I wanted to ask also is Biden putting us in harm's way? And the reason I'm asking that is Biden is really, or better yet, America is really the only remaining country on earth that continues to support what Israel is doing in Gaza. And we're supporting Israel while there are literally millions of folks coming into this country unvetted. So at the same time, because if you're really pissed off at what Israel is doing to innocent Palestinians, and there's a hell of a lot of innocent folks being hit, you want to get back at Israel. or you want to get back at anybody that's helping them do that. And America's the only country right now helping Israel while taking in millions of unvetted people. Do you believe that Biden is putting America at risk?
I don't think that they're letting in unvetted people. And when you say unvetted people, are we talking about at the southern border or from Palestine or what?
I'm talking about at the southern border. Folks from all different nations are coming here, and they don't have any information in regards to the background of that individual.
Well, this is what I would say about the southern border, because I was trying to figure out how was the Israel thing, tied into the southern border, but I'm not gonna even trip on that. What I am gonna say is this: I really think that what Biden should do is tell them point blank, if you don't have a birth certificate, if you don't have some form of ID, and I'm not talking about your children, then don't come, because we're not gonna let you in. If we can't at least know the basics of who you are, we can't let you in. That's when you were born, and a physical picture showing your name and ID from the country that you came from. If you don't have those things, don't come. We're not going to let you in. That's number one. Number two, the thing about Israel, I would say that he definitely does not need to back him to the point of they have unlimited support. But what I will say is this: we got a big storm coming. What I will say is this: with Netanyahu, I would actually have to what they call it, flex. I would tell him, if you want whatever we got that we're giving you, whether it's bombs, whether it's money, whether it's people to assist you on the ground in the sense of making sure that you run the gear that we're giving you right. If you want any of that help, I suggest you right now stop what you're doing and come to the table. If you don't, whatever partnership or friendship you thought we had, that shit dead.
Wow.
That's what I would tell them.
All right. And you're not the only one saying that.
Yeah, this ain't no fake flex. This is a real flex. I'm gonna hold these funds till you decide to get up off your ass and come over here to the table and talk. Other than that, I'm blocking your calls. I'm taking you off my Facebook list. I'm doing all of that, man. I'm taking you off my TikTok. Hey, we don't have nothing to say till you come to the table and talk to everybody. And that's just me.
All right, Stick. Well said. Appreciate you coming on in as usual.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you. Good one, Hansel. You too. Look in the comments, and I think there's a lot of folks in this country that want Biden to have a stronger background towards Benjamin Netanyahu in regards to continuing supporting Israel. But here's the thing. You got a lot of folks, particularly in Michigan, Minnesota, heavy Muslim states, that are voting that they're not happy with the current politicians. So they're liberals typically, but because Biden continues to support Israel, they're voting like, what is it, no contest or something like that, no confidence or whatever it's called. Here's the issue I have, and this would certainly apply to anybody that supports, voting against Biden, shunning Biden because of continued support for Israel. If your vote cost Biden your state, do you believe Trump would be better at handling the conflict towards the way you want it? Do you believe that Trump would take a stronger stance to defend Gaza? Because that's where you're leaning if you're voting against Biden, because you're pissed off with him supporting Israel. Is that his only opposition is Trump. There's no other person out there. You're not going to get RFK. You're not going to get Kennedy. If you mess things up, and you take down Biden, you're getting Trump. So be certain, while you're chastising Biden, that Trump would be a better replacement for the issue you have. Because that's who is going to take office if Biden loses. Looking in the comments, Biden is pro-Israel, says Derek. Okay, is Trump pro-Gaza? Pro-Palestinian? What would Trump do under this situation. October 7th happens. Netanyahu wants endless assistance to pummel Gaza. What do you think Trump would do? Going back to the box, tap the screen, get your boy on up to 35,000. We've had some problems with TikTok. Does seem to be working. YouTube seems to be working very well. Damn y'all delusional, says Elita. Folks, now, particularly on YouTube, where you get a little bit of room to type, if you think anyone on the program, whether it's a guest, whether it is yours truly, that what being said denotes that I'm full of shit or somebody else is, state it in the comments. Nobody's blocking or censoring you here. This is an uncensored format. Contribute to the program in relation to what we're talking about, but feel free to speak your mind. But to just simply type in "you're delusional" adds absolutely nothing to the program. Damn it, nobody knows what your definition of delusion even is. You may be currently in a crazy house typing that shit. Put some meat behind the damn sandwich. I don't want all bread. That was useless. Going back to the box. Shut up and listen. I love the name. Welcome to the program. We stand with peace. I like that. I like that. In the comments, somebody said we stand with peace. Shut up and listen. Good afternoon.
Hey, Handsome, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. So, what do you think? You think Biden's putting us in danger?
Not at all. I mean, we've had the same problem with the border for years. This is nothing new. It's always a caravan coming. It's always something. The border does what it's supposed to do. Americans are supposed to take the weak and weary. We're supposed to take everybody. And for some reason, even though the border is bad, we still manage to find terrorists when they try to cross the border.
Yeah. So you're saying the border's always been bad. So is it safe to say you don't think Biden's really handling the border any worse than Trump?
Exactly. I don't think we could go back as far as Bush and say the same thing has been going on. We've been having the same talking point for over 20 years, 30 years. This is nothing new.
So why do you think the number of immigrants has allegedly swollen so much under Biden compared to Trump? Or do you believe the same amount of folks are coming in under Trump that they are under Biden?
I think the same amount of people are coming, but you got to realize Trump put kids in cages. Like, that was a big deal. People were staying on the other side of the border because they didn't want to go through that. Now, you can give certain people asylum. That takes time. You know, it's not like you can just do this. And we all sit here and we talk about it. Yes, we've had the buses to other cities, sanctuary cities, but Texas have always dealt with this. Arizona's always dealt with this. This is nothing new.
Yeah.
Actually, it was a good relationship for a long time, to be honest.
Yeah. But what about the notion that Biden let Trump's COVID policy, which was remain in Mexico to file for asylum or whatever, and Biden let that expire so that people could come to this country first and then request asylum?
People were dying on the other side of the border. Like, it was getting wild over there. Gangs was raping women. They were abusing people. They was robbing people. It wasn't a good place to be. Go to Tijuana and it was wow. You had people literally sleeping on the other side of the fence. It was turning into internment camps.
Wow.
In Mexico.
So why not contact Mexico and demand they fix that stuff? I mean, Mexico's a sovereign nation. Why are people in your country going through all this and begging to get to our country?
I mean, but that's the way it's always been. You can't expect a place to change just because we're changing. People are going to want to get out of Mexico. Mexico is a poor city. You know, we talk about poor cities in America. Most of the cities in Mexico can't compare to Flint, Michigan, for Christ's sake. So
now in regards to what you're saying, Snowball5 in the comments is asking, where do you live? Because he's stating you're totally out of touch, saying that what you're saying is just totally out of touch with reality.
Well, right now I live in North Carolina, but I've lived in Texas. I've lived in Florida.
I've lived all over the country. Like, that's part of my job. These things aren't new.
So, what about the unvetted part? People coming in the country, you don't know where they're from, you don't know if they have a criminal background.
But that's what I'm saying. We say that and we use it as a talking point, but we're still catching terrorists. We're not vetting people, but we're catching terrorists. Like, make that make sense. I think we caught a terrorist last week. Or maybe that was this week. Maybe sometime recent.
So you're saying they are vetted?
Yeah, you have to show ID to get across the border. Yeah, there are people who are being smuggled across, but people have always been smuggled across. Hell, I dated a girl who spent 3 days in the desert jumping over the wall, and she was 5 feet tall. So these things have always happened.
Wow.
This is nothing new.
So do you think Trump's border wall, do you support that at all? You think that would be effective?
In a sense, yes, but it has to be something. I'm going to tell you one thing. Mexicans and Hispanics are very creative. At one point, they had those trucks that had the ladders on the back that would just go up straight up to the top. It's going to have to be something good. They're going to find a way because it's life or death to them. If it was life or death to Americans to get out of America and go to Canada or Mexico, we will find a way.
I agree.
We'll dig a tunnel. We'll do something. So you're not going to be able to stop it. It's just like drugs. You're never going to stop drugs because people want the drugs.
So let's say we promoted you, shut up and listen. We propelled you to commander-in-chief, and you had a bunch of constituents. Your voters were crying out that the border was under control, out of control. Would you do it? What would you do to fix what's going on, or at least attempt to address it?
We would need more of a presence, not at border checkpoints, but in the middle of nowhere, where they're crossing the river, where they're coming through small holes in the fence.
Okay.
That's where we really need it, and that's the only way to really stop it. But at the end of the day, someone's always going to try.
How do you respond to folks who suggest that once they are in this country, they shouldn't qualify for EBT cards, food stamps, phones, driver's license, health care? Do you believe they should be able to tap into our resources once they are here?
Resources such as medical, they should get that. I believe everybody should get that no matter what. But as far as like all the extras, become a citizen first and then we can help you.
Right.
There's plenty of Americans that we're not helping to be focused on helping outsiders.
Yeah. So when they're here seeking asylum, they got to become a citizen first. How do they eat?
There's plenty of jobs that you don't need identification for to get a job. It's America, man.
Give me some examples.
Go work in the fields where you're picking our fruits, our vegetables. There's plenty of things you can do. I'm not telling you to panhandle or hustle, but sell fruit on a shopping cart. Do something.
Where are you going to get the fruit?
They can figure it out. I mean, plenty of people start nothing with nothing. Like, people start something with nothing. They just have to figure it out.
So you want them to
here and expect a handout.
I think what you're suggesting would create a bunch of robbers and thieves. I mean, I'm in America now, but I can't eat. Huh?
I said that's possible, but that's the same things that's happening in the inner cities. Why do you think people start selling drugs? Why do you think people start becoming strippers? That's why. They have nothing.
So how do you respond to someone like X-Tina in the comments that says if they can figure it out, they can figure it out at home?
They don't have options at home. They don't have the opportunities at home. You can set up a cart on a corner and sell ice with a couple of pieces of fruit for a couple of dollars, and people are going to buy it. Try that in Mexico, not so much.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, though. I mean, when you got millions of people, particularly like what's going on in New York, it's not enough going on there for them to all figure that out without committing some crimes. I just don't see it.
But
There's people you can go, hey man, I see you're a vendor, you're selling hot dogs, can I help you? You don't have to give me a lot of money, $50 and I'll work for you all day. That's a start. Like, people gotta realize sometimes you gotta start at the bottom, and foreigners, they have that idea. Americans, we don't. Like, no American will start from the very bottom. They do. They're willing to.
So how do you feel now? I got to move it on, but last question. The Hillbilly on YouTube is saying, stop the Mexican invasion. Do you see this as an invasion?
I don't, because it's the American way. Like, why we got the Statue of Liberty? This is what we're supposed to do. We're American. We're the world's big brother. Like, if we're gonna run around saying I'm patriotic, I'm supporting freedom, but I only support freedom for people in America. How you think we became people in America? Nobody here is from America. At the end of the day, everybody's a foreigner and had to start from something.
Wow. Well stated. Shut up and listen. I did that. I appreciate you coming through. Always welcome to come back, man. Thank you. Real quick in the comments, Yo-Yo, you can't play with my yo-yo, said, man, there are a lot of jobs under the table because I work them too. Facts, but those are illegal. I mean, I did the same thing. When I first went to Australia, before I could get work rights, I worked as a bouncer in a bar. The guy paid me in cash, but that is a crime, by the way, and I could have gotten deported for that. When they say you don't have work rights, they mean that. If you violate that, that is a crime, and so is the individual paying you to work under the table, because he is undermining labor laws in actual Americans that may have that job. So yeah, you can work under the table, but that now is involving another American in your crime, because there is also a law that if you as an American citizen aid or abet somebody that's here criminally, you can be charged for that. So you as a citizen, if you pay somebody under the table, now we don't enforce that shit. Let's make it clear. I'm not saying it's enforced, but if you hire people to cut your lawn or something like that, and you know that they're here illegally or working in your store like Tyson Foods, and it's a crime. It is a crime. Looking in the comments, and also as Boilerman stated, working under the table is also tax evasion. Well said. Well said. Well said. It definitely is that as well. Going back to the box. Question we're asking, another one, we talked about Biden potentially putting this country at risk. I think there's something to it. My last caller disagreed. Also, what we wanted to ask as well, would it be corrupt? Would it be an act of corruption? Because we know President Trump facing 88 criminal charges. The goal is not to be found guilty. Or not guilty. The goal of President Trump and his legal team is not to be found not guilty, not to be acquitted of the charges. The goal is to delay those court cases until after he potentially is reelected back in the White House, and then he can play musical chairs with prosecutors and things like that and interfere with his own court cases. What we're asking is, would it be an act of corruption for a politician to interfere with his own prosecution? If Trump becomes president and starts interfering with his own court cases, would that be an act of corruption? Going back to the box, Citra Victor 3, friend of the program, correct, damn shame, hell yeah, I don't quite get that girl 007, but moving the program on, Biden is now using our tax dollars to fortify the illegals' position all over this country. No, a lot of that is Governor Greg Abbott using tax dollars to send illegal immigrants all over the country. And the same with Ron DeSantis. Citra, good afternoon.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. So do you think it would be corrupt if Trump became president and interfered with his own court cases?
To a degree, I would have to agree with you and say yeah, but at the same time, I mean, all the things against him are all civil cases. Anybody can.
No. Fonnie Willis' case is not civil. Neither is Jack Smith. Those are criminal cases.
I mean, I agree with you. I definitely agree that if he was to go into presidency and use his power to interfere with his own trials, that would definitely be corrupt.
Do you
I'm a Trump supporter?
now you support Trump?
I do.
Do you believe he is above doing something like that? Whereas he is so focused on making America great that he would never do something so corrupt.
I want to say that I don't think that he would, but I mean he's a person. So I mean I'm not. Although I'm a Trump supporter, I'm not saying that he's perfect, because he's definitely not. But I think that he's doing a way better job than what Biden did.
Yeah. But if his promise was to expose corruption and drain the swamp, but then he did something like that, would that not make him a swamp creature in himself?
I mean, that's a fair statement. I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so you believe he's possibly capable of corruption, but he just happens to be better than Biden.
I do. I honestly think that it's like you're picking the worst of
the lesser of
best
two evils. Yeah, the lesser of two evils. You know, and that's a fair point. You're not painting Trump out to be some kind of saint. You're just saying, listen,
no, not at all.
Yeah,
Not
he's
at all.
better than Biden. No, I think
he's an arrogant asshole myself, but you know, I still don't. I still agree with his policies. And I disagree with several things the last guy said, because it was almost like he was making excuses, just saying the border problem was going to happen anyways. But if you look at the numbers over the last 20 years, they're significantly higher under Biden's time in office than it has been in the last 20 years under any presidency.
Yeah, you talking
You can't ignore the numbers.
You talking in terms of folks coming in this country.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard the same. I don't believe that the border under Biden is the same as, like one of my callers just said, it's the same under Trump. I do believe there's a difference. I certainly do. I believe, though, that Mexico is like a conspirator in it, in my opinion. We should be more tough on Mexico. That the fact that you can use that country as a thoroughfare to come to the United States, we should actually demand more of Mexico. Like, do you need some money to protect your southern border? Because folks are coming in your country with no intention of staying and walking to our country by foot. Like, how does that happen?
Right.
Yeah. So,
and then he also made a statement that he said that Trump put kids in cages. That was actually Obama's policies that did that, not Trump's.
Well, Trump certainly did it too, though.
He did do it. But
Yeah.
The policies were set forth by Obama.
And I will say right off the bat, when Melania Trump, because they made a much bigger fuss about it in regards to Trump, as you're pointing out, than when Obama did it. And Obama was definitely doing it, but a bigger fuss was being made about it under Trump. And when Melania Trump went down to check on those children wearing a big ass jacket that said, "I don't care," you got to understand that's why Trump is drawing more flack than Obama. Obama was doing it, but he was trying to keep it on the low. Trump was bragging about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of brought that biased judgment on himself. Why do you think she would wear a jacket like that said, "I don't care"?
I couldn't say one way or the other, honestly.
Yeah. You think it was a good thing to do?
Probably not. I mean, I definitely don't think that Trump and his wife or his family do a lot to help the things that people spew about him, because he tends to put his foot in his mouth a lot. And in my honest opinion, when he became president, they should have took social media away from him, so he's not sitting on the toilet making bad decisions, saying stupid shit.
Yeah, you know, I've said it before, even though I lean left politically, I think he certainly on paper was worthy of a second term. If what had happened, what you just stated, they got him off social media, I feel confident he would still been in office. How do you, because you sound fairly reasonable for a Trump supporter compared to what I normally get. How do you feel about him this weekend going on social media and posting a picture of Biden hogtied with the flag prominently displayed in the background?
Yeah, I don't agree. That falls along the same terms as I don't agree with like a lot of things that he does as far as social media and fueling the fire. In his case, I mean, he definitely does a lot of stupid shit when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you said, I mean, I'm a reasonable person. Like, and most of us are. We just have.
I don't know about that. Some of the things you said, like for instance, I did a whole live stream on that pickup with the president, hogtie. There was a hell of a lot of Trump supporters that thought that was a great idea or was a joke. It was funny. They didn't sound like you.
Right. I mean, there's definitely far right wing people that I disagree with and I don't associate with. So they're definitely out there. But I mean, it's to say the same thing on the other side.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
So.
But it's not coming from the top like that. I mean, there's plenty of Kathy Lee Griffith. She put up a severed head of President Trump. You know, it's coming from the View, but the actual president.
I think Madonna, she got on TV and said that she was going to bomb the White House.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. It's coming from liberal talking heads or celebrities. It's not coming out of the White House from the liberal side. You know, on the Republican side, with Trump as president, it's coming from the very top.
Right.
Yeah, that's different. That's different.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah. All right, but listen, I don't have a lot of pushback. I think even though we may be on a different side of the aisle, I think we pretty much agree on a lot of this. So do appreciate it, Citra.
I definitely follow you and listen to you a lot because I mean, although you say you lean left, I could definitely see myself sitting down and having a cup of coffee with you and having discussions without this violent uproar that everybody thinks it can be, and that's the way it needs to be. Everybody needs to come together and realize that we're still in the same country and we still all have the same problems, and whether it be money or family or anything, and we're still here under the same roofs, and we're all neighbors in the same country.
Well said. Well said. Appreciate you coming through, Citra. Thank you very much. Come on back anytime, man.
All right.
All right. Real quick in the comments on YouTube, what I can see, original AO or something says, everyone celebrated Kathy Griffin. What's the difference? That's not true is the difference. The ladies of The View, because I watch a hell of a lot of the liberal programs as well as on the right. No, there was not a whole lot of celebration on the right side of the aisle when Kathy Griffin held up a severed head of President Trump. That is not true. That was not celebrated. By the way, the Secret Service visited her. All of her gigs were canceled, liberal comedian, liberal gigs, yet she dealt with cancel culture pretty wholeheartedly. All her gigs were canceled. She was placed on the no-fly list. She has some significant consequences for doing that. Right now, I don't see where Trump has had any. It's a big difference. And that's a comedian. That's not somebody running for the nation's highest office. Big, big difference. So no, I don't see that. Looking in the comments, what's Melania's nationality? She's an immigrant who got in because of Donnie. She's from Eastern Europe. I don't know which country is she, but I do agree with you wholeheartedly that President Trump is the reason she got in. She got in legally at the head of the line, and also her family got in as well while Trump was president. That didn't happen naturally. Yeah, I believe that. I absolutely believe that she used her family, her husband being president to get in. You do it too, but it does. It does have meaning when we're talking about immigrants coming in and getting in front of the line and things like that. And the First Lady did it as well. In regards to the I don't care, just you jacket that Melania Trump wore to the border, one of my viewers on YouTube stated that jacket was not meant to the children. It was meant at the media. Look, there is so much orbiting around Trump that often has to be interpreted to mean something else. I don't buy that. I just don't. I mean, you don't go down to check on children at the border knowing that they're in dire straits and use that time to attack the media. Melania Trump can be on television any damn time she wants. There's loads of opportunities to attack the media while you're not going to look at children that are in a desperate situation. And hoping people can make the connection that while you're checking on a child's welfare, The "I don't care about them" jacket you're wearing is not in reference to the child. That's really, really making a stretch. By the way, Melania Trump is a supermodel, has a modeling career. She is quite knowledgeable about fashion and what she wears and how it can be used in relation. There's no way in hell that I would believe that she picked that moment intentionally to attack the media and not expect people to tie it to the children she was going to check on. That makes no sense to me at all. Looking in the comments, at least she was there checking on them. I don't know if I agree with that, Michael Sparks in the comments. If I'm in a bad situation and you show up with a garment on that says, "I don't give a damn how you're doing," my opinion, you're no better than somebody that didn't show up at all. You actually came here to tell me you don't give a damn. You could have done that on TV. I don't give you an accolade for showing up to tell me to my face you don't give a damn about me. I don't give credit for that. Going back to the box, tap the screen. 50,000 is possible if you show your boy some love on the program. You know we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We allow all comments, even if they're critical of anyone in the comments, even the host. We are an open format. Going back to the box, we'll go straight to Jacqueline. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. It was a photo op she didn't want to do. I don't care what it was. You show up with that jacket on while your goal is to check on the children. People are going to tie your statement on your back to the children you're checking on. Trying to flip that to mean any damn thing else is outrageous. Knowing that if Kamala Harris showed up at the border wearing that same damn jacket, you would tie it to the children. Look, you can make excuses. These people don't need you to interpret for them. They are highly educated. Melania speaks 5 damn languages. She don't need you to interpret for her. She knows what she is saying. Jacqueline, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, so what do you think? You think forced patriotism? We talked about the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship, most watched women's sporting event in recent history. One team, LSU, the Louisiana State University players, did not show up for the anthem. They didn't come out until the national anthem was over with. Do you believe athletes should be forced to patronize the flag?
You know, I am a immigrant from El Salvador, and I am a Latina. And I came in the way that, we were required to come in because I was escaping the war from El Salvador, and my family was due so. We had to wait almost.
Hang on a second. Hold on. Did you hear what I asked you though? We can talk about that. But
So to me, honoring the flag, just like I honor the flag from the United States now, because that is my home country, even though I was born in El Salvador, and okay, I also lived in Honduras. I don't have either of those two flags. I'm not, and I believe that if it has nothing to do about patriotic, but this is your country you're representing, whether you're an athlete or whatever it is that you're doing. Like my son, he's in the military. For every military men and women that has served our nation, whether before I became an immigrant or in the existence of this nation, I put the flag to honor all of them, and in respect, because this is where I earn my money, this is where I got my college education, and this is where I bought my children and raised them to be the citizens that I wanted them to become.
So at the end, so you do believe athletes should be forced to be patriotic in the flag?
Yes,
okay.
You should. Yes, because they are representing it's like me visiting back home into El Salvador. While I'm there to visit, I am, if I'm in a stadium, especially soccer, you already know we love soccer. Of course, I'm going to be patriotic and stand up for that flag, even though that's not my home country no more.
So somebody asked in the comments, do you stand at home when the anthem is being played?
Yes, and I put my hand over my heart. I still remember the day when I was able to say the Pledge of Allegiance. This is not my native language. I was so proud of myself that going through my ESL classes and learning English and writing, and before I would just stood up and listen to all my classmates, recite it. But when I finally started to know that I was able to recite it with them, I was proud of myself, and to this moment is very special to me.
Yeah. Now, what about folks, because a lot of times, particularly with the minorities in this
And
country.
for that gentleman right there that's saying liar, you know what? I can't have this gentleman who was allowing me to be part of his guest provide the proof. I came to the Los Angeles, okay? That was the flight that I came in, and I went to Los Angeles School District. That's where I graduated. I graduated from, I'm actually right now registered at the Grand Canyon Online University to do my doctoral degree. So I don't need to lie to you or to any audience about what I have achieved and what my son has achieved being, right now that he's serving.
So how do you, okay, how do you feel?
I'm not a liar.
Okay. I don't want to be patriotic to it.
I can say that I have been mistreated in, when I first, as I was trying to assimilate into the cultural, my accent, I'm a little female Latina. You can tell that I'm not from here. But that doesn't stop me from honoring those who fought for, to protect this land, and for us to have the freedom, for me to have the freedom to have this conversation with you and share my insight of what I have experienced as I came through the walls of the United States.
So how do you view freedom when somebody is saying you should be forced to do something? Is that freedom? Forced patriotism? You still see that as freedom?
Well, there's certain things that we have to abide by. Regardless, if you don't, like with me, if I don't feel that this is where I need to be because of the faith that this country represents, or the flag that it represents, or the anthem it represents, there's always a flight, a free ticket that I can always fly back to the place that I feel that I am comfortable and exercising everything that I feel in here. Maybe it could be the flag, it could be the faith, it could be other things that within the culture. I have, the freedom to leave and go where I feel comfortable that I need to be.
But what about the First Amendment right of free speech, the right to assemble and protest? If there's something going on in America, you have a First Amendment right to speech, protest, assembly. You don't have to leave your homeland. If something's happening you don't like in this country, you can actually protest and speak out about it. It's not like, well, the way the country is ran, if you don't like it, then go. No, you have a right to protest it.
And just think about that. You just said a major thing. My home country, I don't have the right to be able to go to school. I don't have, I don't have the freedoms to do the things and choose a career. I don't have the freedoms to speak, because men are the ones, are the head of the household. They're the ones that have.
But it sounds like you're trying to pattern America after your country. You're talking about making folks be forced to do things here.
It's like, again, I think when it comes to the flag is about honoring those individuals that got killed on the line, that have sacrificed their life. That is what you are respecting.
Well, what if let me give you a perfect example. What if you believe that the folks that got killed on the line were fighting for a cause you didn't support? Vietnam War, Iraq War. People may not even support that. Should they still have to honor them?
Yeah, you know what? Because my husband was in the military and he went to Iraq. I mean, there was a lot of things in there's escaping a war. Just think about it. I escaped a war, and then I married a man that had to go be part of a war. So I still feel that regardless whether we still have to respect the life of that individual, of those individuals, of their existence, whether I was opposed on it or was in favor of it. I think I need to respect their existence. I have to respect the fact that we're part of our society, and they had something that they strongly felt, and that's why they signed up and went out and fought whatever it was that they were fighting.
All right. And I absolutely respect your opinion. I want to ask you this before I let you go. Someone in the comments, and I'm kind of intrigued as well. Are you allowed to vote in this country?
Yes, I did finally took my citizenship. I had to study very, very hard to pass the exam and be able to have the citizenship, yes.
Nationally, Who's getting your vote in November?
Well, I was a Democrat until I started working for Obama. I worked for Obama for they call them the UAC, the undocumented alien children. And I was there with Melania, did the visit at Southwest Keys programs here in Phoenix, Arizona. And we had, under his presidency, we had the highest deportation under any other presidency. If you look at the data under the USC, CIC.
Under Obama, wait, you said under Obama we had the highest deportation?
Yes, we did.
Okay, keep going.
And so, and if you look at the data from Homeland Security and the USC, IS, you'll see the data that supports it. We had at that time, when I was working for the program Southwest Keys, was we had children arriving on our border. Like if you look at the data.
But how can you said you were there when Melania Trump visited, but then you mentioned Obama. You know Melania Trump did not visit the border under Obama.
I worked for Obama I was working under Obama for the highest deportation. Then I went and started working for DESI. That's another federal contract. That's what we did. We go and visit the locations where the children are at, detained while they're being processed, and having the unification package to making sure that they're being released to their family members. And Melania, she did talked about it, that the reason why she wore that jacket, because I was shocked myself that she was wearing that jacket. But the reason why I voted when Donald Trump said he was voting, he was going into office, and I voted for him the first time, it was because I wanted something different. I didn't want someone that had any political background. I wanted something fresh. And as a Democrat before, I had already voted for the same thing, and so I just needed to start all fresh and did my data research. And I felt that was the way for.
Okay, wait. Well, now coming up this November, neither one is fresh. They've both had 4 years in office. Who are you voting for in November?
No, Joe has been in office since 1971. So he's been a senator, a vice president, president. And looking at his resume and the things that I have gathered based on my research, I am not voting for
Biden.
Biden, because Biden was under Obama. Biden was part of the crime bill of 1991. Biden fed into many wars through his whole time as a politician from the time he started, and I'm not in favor of any of that.
So you mentioned Obama having the largest amount of deportations during his time. You do understand Trump has came out and verbally stated if he is elected, you're going to have the largest deportation in U.S. history. He's promising that. You're okay with that?
I'm in favor of those individuals. I believe our nation is a nation of immigration, because that's how I arrived here and my family did too. I believe that if you do a background check, because we are required to do so under the Constitution, and they are coming out that they have things in their records, that they're, that are serious crimes, serious felonies. I think they're deemed to. They need to be. It's like me trying to apply for.
But here's what's confusing me. You made it sound like Obama deporting so many people was a negative, but now that Trump is promising it, it's not so much. What's the difference?
So the difference, sir, is that so the difference is that every time they say that Trump does separation of families, Trump did the separation of families in the magnitude that Obama did. And people need to look at the research. That's why look at the data. When Obama did the deportation, he's the one that came up with the catch and release. Okay, so when they do the catch and release, and once you submit your immigration application for it to be reviewed, and if you come out with things that they're not supposed to be DUIs, domestic violence, those individuals should not be eligible to be here in the United States.
Okay, I'm gonna have to move it on because you got something ringing in the background. But I do appreciate you coming on. Your opinion is always welcome. I'm slightly baffled, but listen. Now, see it in the comments on YouTube. Outlaw Josie Wells, certainly a friend of the program, said that I'm not liking what she said. It's not about whether I like or dislike a statement. It's about letting the people speak. Damn it, you don't have to agree with yours truly. I will never, and I repeat, never ever hold anyone in disregard because they have a difference of opinion with yours truly. You have a right to have that. That's what the damn First Amendment is about. Your right to speak, and it will always be observed here, regardless of who the hell you disagree with. So understand that. But what I was a little bit baffled about was she was really critical of Obama for having record deportations. But then when I suggested that Trump is literally promising to top Obama's deportations, her viewpoint was totally different. All right, maybe I didn't get it. Maybe I personally didn't get it. I'll plead ignorance. Maybe it's my fault. Looking in the comments, I'm married to an undocumented spouse, and there are 1.1 million U.S. citizens, and your comment got chopped off. I'd love to see the rest of that. No, you got it, handsome. Listen, I'm going to plead ignorance. It didn't make sense to me because, and by the way, she's not the only one. I believe the late Rush Limbaugh referred to Obama as the deporter-in-chief. Oddly enough, while chastising Obama for separating families, kids in cages, being a deporter-in-chief, many liberals were also accusing him of being in favor of open borders, which is why, even though Obama was apparently deporting a whole bunch of people, they couldn't give him credit. He's actually doing what you want. He's protecting the border. But because he's a liberal, you can't even acknowledge it. It kind of sounds like the border bill a little bit, in my personal opinion. Look at in the comments, the children in cages was during Obama's time. It was also during Trump's time. We just didn't hammer Obama for doing it. As I repeat, Rush Limbaugh did. Rush Limbaugh was hammering Obama for doing it. But the right could not hammer Obama for kids in cages because they were too busy accusing them of open borders, which would be a complete hypocrisy to the point being made. But now, once Trump started being chastised for children being separated at the border in defense of Trump, well, you know, the last guy was doing it too. Well, when he was doing it, you were saying it was for open borders. But now, because your candidate of choice is being held accountable for it, well, let's go back and actually tell the truth. That last guy wasn't for open borders. He was doing it first. It gets to be a little challenging. Looking in the comments, MAGA, make up your mind. Somebody says Republicans are hypocrites. Going back to the box, thank you for those who are tapping the screen. 65,000. We got over 800, almost 900 of you in here. So if you tap the screen, let your thumbs not be lazy. We should be able to get to around 65,000 on the likes. Certainly on YouTube, smash that like button. Understand, folks, the program is, I'm about to say uncivilized. The program is uncensored. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. If you appreciate, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, censor you, or even dictate what opinion you should have, hey, you're in the right place. Feel free to follow the program on TikTok, subscription on YouTube, if you will. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central is when we are here. Appreciate that share. I think that's it in the with the heart there. Lots of information, says JJ. Thank you. Go Trump. Go Trump. FJB, says Robert Gray. Frank Juliet Baker, better known as Fuck Joe Biden. Going back to the box, Don Rubio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Forced patriotism. I didn't think I'd get that answer. What about you, Don? You're okay with forced patriotism? Don Rubio.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, you there? Forced patriotism. Yes. You got a loud background.
No, I'm voting. I'm liberal.
Okay. So you're not a fan of forcing someone to stand for the anthem?
can barely hear you. I got a fan running. Maybe that's why.
We all respect in honesty. You think Trump is the best candidate we can do as a nation. Otis on YouTube. I can't read what you're saying. I don't understand that. You there, Don?
Yes.
Okay. So you lean left.
Yes, after I voted Trump in 2016, and I was a Republican my whole life. My first time I voted for Reagan in 1981, and I voted for Trump like a lot of people, thinking he was going to be something different.
What made you? Trump gave, a lot of folks would suggest Trump gave us a good economy, gas prices, no conflicts worldwide. What would make you not want to reelect him in 2020?
Just his lack of compassion, just the disgrace that he treats people, like making fun of people with disabilities.
Wow.
I have family that stutters. I have families that have disabilities, and he's up there making fun of them. That's why as soon as I seen him doing that, making fun of the reporter or whoever it was that he was up there making fun of.
Yeah.
That just broke my heart, and I thought, how can anybody run a country, our country, and stand up there and do that, belittle somebody with a disability?
So how do you respond to someone now in the comments? Listening to your statement there, Vincent in the comments, see hurt feelings, not policy. How do you respond to folks who suggest you're only voting based on emotion?
No, I'm married to when I married my husband, I met my husband in 2014, and later found out he was in this country undocumented, and we were together a few years, and we got married, and we decided we were going to try to fix fix everything. But just being married to a U.S. citizen, even if he had no criminal background, he crossed the border.
Okay.
That was his problem, and just because you're married to a U.S. citizen, that doesn't matter. It doesn't get you a free green card or nothing.
Really?
He got nothing from this country. I get tired of the lies about immigrants getting free stuff. He never got anything free. Plus, when he did work, he paid Social Security, Medicare. He paid into all of those, which he can never get anything back unless we can get married. He got deported in 2019.
Oh, wow.
We've been living in Mexico. He's from Honduras. I'm from a U.S. citizen. I was forced to leave the USA because if I wanted to have my husband my kids are grown, so I'm not worried about having children, but
what if he came?
My husband to be with him because he couldn't get his green card. So I'm forced to leave the USA for at least 10 years. We have to live out of the USA for 10 years to be able to file the waivers to get back in. And there are I'm currently in a group of citizens. 1.1 U.S. citizens are married to an undocumented spouse. 25%, I think it's about 25% of all U.S. citizen children. One of the parents is an undocumented parent in that household.
Why do you have to wait 10 years? Because he was caught entering illegally?
Yes, they give you bars for every, for the amount of time you were in the USA undocumented. So he had more than one entry. He was deported and he came back.
Okay. And he's from what country you said he's from again?
He's from Honduras.
Honduras.
He's from Honduras.
Wow.
Yes, and he left that country when his best friend was murdered by MS-13, which runs his neighborhood in Honduras. And I've been there. I've been to Honduras. I've been there. I've been attacked myself. I feared for my own life when I went there to visit his family.
So what about this makes you pick Biden over Trump though?
Biden has a heart. I mean, we can all look at Trump. He don't got no feeling. He has no feelings he don't like black people. He don't like brown people.
Wow.
He only likes, and if you're a brown person or black person and you're up there kissing his ass, these people make me, I just sit back and laugh because he wouldn't spit on you. I mean, he don't want you at his dinner table. He don't want to be around you, just only there to be his little pet and be able to say, look, I got a black person here behind me. I got a brown person over there supporting me. It's not because he cares about the
This isn't just.
undocumented. He hates the undocumented. Today, I read this morning, I'm here in Mexico. I live in Reynosa, just across the border, because when my husband got deported, we decided to come to Mexico, which they accepted us. We now have our residency here. In 2025, we will be full-time residents in Mexico. They accepted us here, and that's sad that Mexico would accept a U.S. citizen to bring her husband from another country into here to live. And because I had to work, I had bills, I lost everything. A U.S. citizen, and there's lots of us. I had a friend in Colorado, look it up, American Families United. 1.1 million U.S. citizens. Please look it up. We're trying to get our word out there. People don't realize it. And when we talk to people, my own family even ask, well, since he married you, you're a U.S. citizen. Didn't he just become a U.S. citizen? You know, a lot of people think just because you're a U.S. citizen and you marry an undocumented
I actually thought that was the case as well, that if you married a U.S. citizen, it would, well, I think in your husband's case, it sounds like because he has those illegal entries on his record, that's what's hurting him, though.
Yeah, and so that's why we had to leave. They deported him. We got married in 2014. We lived in Houston until 2017. We moved back to Tennessee. I finally got a notice to come to Memphis, Tennessee in 2019. It was February the 12th of 2019. Come down to Memphis. Going to have your interview. Never thought nothing about it, but at the hindsight, everybody told me afterwards, oh, you should have never applied for your spouse because he was automatically going to get deported. But some immigration lawyers take advantage of people who don't know what's going on. They steal their money, because what can you do? What can a person do? If
So when you went to the interview, did they take him into custody or something?
Yes, they. Well, we had to go for what they call an I-130. It's the first step of getting your green card. So when we went, we took all our information, all our banking, all our everything, our home, everything what we owned, everything together, because they tell you have to have all this stuff. And the officer, the lady who was there, who went through everything, she goes, okay, I got good news, I got bad news. She goes, your I-130 is approved, which means my husband is eligible for a visa, but he's also, ICE is here, and we didn't know, we're so stupid. We're in the building where they have the immigration meetings. Upstairs is where ICE is. They're all in the same building, Yeah, they just come down and get the people in. And actually, the lawyer who we dealt with, he wasn't on the up and up because he took 3 guys, 2 Hondurans and 1 Mexican. They all went in. ICE took them all 3 that day. All 3 women walked out with the other 2 ladies had children, 3 to 4. One of my friends, she was from Tennessee too. She had 4 kids. Okay, just because he entered the country, there should be maybe a penalty. We were willing to pay. Come on, we'll pay some money to get this fixed, but they don't care.
So
I was devastated.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you would. You never thought going to that interview would mean being separated from your husband.
No. And so when we were, I had to pay. I had my house payment. I had my car payment. I had all my bills. I had a job. I'm a school bus driver for 26 years. I see somebody said you made your bed, lay in it.
That's the no.
And I laid down with the man I love. And why should I, as a U.S. citizen, I have no rights in this country as a U.S. citizen? I'm actually sitting over here in Mexico saying this, but there are millions of people, your neighbors, your friends. These people. We are your bus drivers. We're your person that works, helps your kids in church. We're the school lady, the lunch lady. They're serving your kids lunch.
Wow.
We're under DACA. These people who got DACA are the same as my husband. They came across illegally. They came with their parents as children, but they came the same way.
Yeah.
And these people.
So let me ask you: I do have to move it on, but real briefly. intend to come back to America after the? I mean, what you got to what 2027?
March 15th. March 15th. We've been out 5 years. We have 5 more years to wait until we can even apply to come back in. I mean, I'm not the only one. I have a friend who is a veteran who was a Navy. He was in the Navy, U.S. Navy. He just left. Look it up. You can see he was just in Colorado last week. They had a big thing in Colorado. He got his governor of Colorado or senator to. They approve. There's a lot of governors, senators, but mostly Democrats. You know, you don't have no Republicans. No Republicans will sign on. I think maybe last year they had a couple. Used to be they had they had Lindsey Graham. I forget there was several that was trying to get something done several years ago.
Right.
But I mean, I wish I could get you to get my group.
I do want to, I got to move on, but I do want to, I'll look up that American Families United, but I do got to move it on.
They're trying to get some members in their group so they can get on live. They only have 200 or 300 members right now, but there's thousands and thousands of families, children, suffering every day because they're separated, and they talk about separation. This separates families and breaks up takes their kids, their fathers, mothers.
It sounds, it's clearly depressing. But Don, listen, I do got to move it on. Listen, you're always welcome back. I certainly would love to talk to you some more in the future, but I do got to move it on. American Families United. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, look them up. They're on Facebook too.
All right, fair enough. Go ahead and drop. Something's wrong on this side. Go ahead and drop. Anytime, though, come back. Appreciate it. Looking in the comments, I'm having some issues with TikTok. I don't know if she dropped or not, but go ahead and drop, because I'm trying to see if it unlocks the program.
Okay, how do do you undrop?
Yeah, normally you should be able to tap on the X there, but I can't even tell you because my whole setup is frozen. Yeah, I may have to just restart the whole thing over because something's frozen here.
Sorry.
But it's all right. It's okay. We'll figure it out. I can't do anything. Hang on a second for you folks that are on YouTube working fine, but TikTok is just garbage today.
I wanted to say the lady who was on before talking about if Trump gets in, about she's okay with people staying in the USA who don't have any criminal background. My husband did not have a criminal background. He hadn't even got caught DUI, nothing, no drinking, nothing like that. So it's
Don, they think your husband is a murderer or a rapist. They don't care about your husband being. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just being honest with you.
It's sad what people have become, because I was that person that these people are now. Because I was a Republican, I felt that way, and now I look back and it makes me.
Okay, all right, I gotta restart. Hang on a second for you YouTubers. I do appreciate all of you folks. We have no problem on YouTube, and I do, Trump girl, I think you're saying it correctly. No one cares about a husband, and that's true. That is true. I don't think anyone on the right side of the aisle cares about stories like that. Like I told her, most folks believe her husband is a rapist or a murderer. Look, he came here illegally, he made his bed. A lot of folks believe that, which is also why she stated she's been a lifelong Republican, going all the way back to the Reagan era she brought up. She's no longer on that side because she went through the circumstance, and now she realized how heartless that is to other people, because now it's happening to her. So that's one voter that's been lost. Now this American Families United, I'm real curious. I will look it up. All right, look it in the comments. Julio Reed says only Trumplicans think that. No, hell, after what Governor Abbott and Governor Ron DeSantis did, sending them immigrants up north, there's some anti-immigrant liberals out there now too. So it has spread. Looking in the comments, she can't live in the U.S. How can she vote? as a citizen living abroad, as long as you haven't denounced your citizenship, you can vote. I voted for Obama while living in Australia, so you can do it. I mean, obviously the military votes. You don't have to live in America to be able to vote. You can be an expat because they still make you pay taxes, by the way. They still make you pay taxes even though you're not living in America. I believe toward the end of her life, rock and roll Grammy-winning artist Tina Turner, who lived in Switzerland probably 20, 25 years before she died last year, she had denounced her citizenship in 2013, and she said the same thing, like, I haven't been to America in like 20 years, but I still have to pay taxes. So to get out of it, she had to literally get rid of her U.S. citizenship. So yeah, you still can vote even though you live elsewhere. Looking in the comments, watching from Belfast, Northern Ireland. Wow. I think that says my. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to participate in the comments. We're talking about, first of all, is Biden putting the U.S. at risk? Now, I know my last caller may not like this topic, but is Biden putting the U.S. at risk with the border being unsecure, as many would suggest, while simultaneously standing by Israel, being at this point the lone ally of Israel? Just about everybody on the globe believes Israel should have a ceasefire. America's the only country that still is somewhat standing behind Israel while taking in a bunch of immigrants from everywhere around the world. The reason why I'm asking that, a lot of folks may look to hit the United States. A lot of folks are pissed off with what we're doing in favor of Israel. So if you're not securing the border, you could be putting Americans at risk. DJ Julio, thank you for the hat and mustache. Having significant trouble with TikTok. But let me try to bring up the one and only DJ Julio. I'm just having a ton of problems here. Julio, can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Okay, so what do you think? Yeah, I assume you were listening in to my last caller?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, she's a prime example of how Biden's affecting America.
Now she's voting for Biden.
Yeah, I know. I think she's just really confused.
How so?
Well, if Biden was doing more to ensure that people weren't crossing undocumented through the correct process to get into America, she wouldn't now be living 5 years in Mexico with her undocumented husband.
She's been in Mexico for 5 years. That means she was in Mexico while Trump was still in control of the border. The 10-year span she has to wait, that didn't come from Biden. That was done before Biden became president. That happened under Trump.
Yeah, from his big brother, probably Obama.
How does Obama come into this?
Well, if it was that long ago, Obama would have been in president before Donald Trump was, and if he was kicked out in 19, like she said, that puts President Trump his third year in office, which means he probably kicked him out. We had to have gotten in during Obama.
No, under Trump, the law requiring you to wait 10 years sounds like that happened under Trump. I don't know why you go back to Obama, and it certainly doesn't have anything to do with Biden because it happened before Biden became president.
Sure does. So I said that he got in under Obama, her husband, probably. He'd already been kicked out once, so clearly he doesn't like to follow the rules of America. Because if you get deported once and you come back and you get deported again, I mean, stupid is one, stupid is two.
Do you believe Biden, if someone came into the country illegally a bunch of times under the Biden administration, they would make them go back and wait 10 years to get back in? That sounds like something Biden would do?
No, it sounds Biden would put him in New York or Chicago or
right,
whatever and tell him to blend in.
Right. So if her husband came in under the Biden administration and they went to that appointment in Memphis under the Biden administration, they would still be living in the United States.
Maybe, maybe not.
You just said it. You just said Biden would send you up north and tell you to come back or something like. You just admitted under Biden.
What I said in the beginning of it, Tim, was very clear. Very, very clear. People that are coming into this country under the Biden administration right now, or the O'Biden, the O'Biden administration, they're coming here illegally. Okay, yeah, they came in illegally for many, many, many years. They've been coming here illegally and have been kicked out and come back illegally and getting kicked out again. Now he's got to wait 10 years before he can even try to come back to America the right way. If you stop that, it stops. You don't have to worry about that shit no more.
Do you believe?
Right, you don't have to worry about it.
Do you believe Biden would be more sympathetic to somebody entering this country illegally?
I think Biden would definitely put us at risk more than anybody else. Yes.
Yeah, but I think you and I disagree is that if Biden was, let's say Obama left office in 2017 or whatever, 16 or whatever it was, 17, and Biden took office, her and her husband would still be in the United States. I mean, plain and simple. The reason why they're not here is a tough era Trump policy. She didn't vote for Trump a second time. You got to assume that woman, what she's going through, has more knowledge about what's happening than you and I at all, because she's living it.
That woman, I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her. You know, a part of me does. The other part of me says, you know, the truth. You chose a man who tried to come into this country illegally twice.
Yeah.
He didn't learn his lesson the first time, didn't learn his lesson the second time. And what I'm getting at is right now with Biden allowing all of these people to cross the border without being documented and becoming American citizens, or doing the right thing for asylum or whatever you call it.
Right.
Whatever path that you're supposed to take. If they're not taking that, the risk they have now is more women like this or more men like this who find women that have come across.
Well, here's the difference. Under the Biden administration, her husband could have just came here and pled asylum. He wouldn't have had to come in illegally. He could have just said, I'm here seeking asylum, found his wife and stayed with her.
Yeah, but at the risk of all the Americans who have to again pay taxes even if they live out of country.
Okay, I get the tax part. We're breaking up their marriage to save money in taxes.
If you get the tax part, then you understand how important it is for them not to come over here illegally.
I don't disagree that the border needs to be handled properly, but I do believe that you can do it with a sympathetic ear. I think, in my opinion, Trump would be more effective at dealing with the border, but I believe it mainly because I think Trump is so gung-ho on defending the border. He don't mind breaking the Constitution. He don't mind locking people up. He don't mind folks losing their lives in the process. He's willing to go all out to defend the border because he believes they're invaders. They're rapists and murderers. So if a few of them have to die to get the lesson across, I think he's okay with that.
What wouldn't you do to protect your backyard?
Depends on who's in it. Am I defending?
What wouldn't you do to protect your backyard? And that's it. What wouldn't you do to protect your backyard?
And I repeat, depending on who is in my backyard. If the person coming in my backyard is a bank robber, a rapist, or a murderer, I'm going to do what I got to do. But if it's a kid trying to recover their basketball, I'm not going to. It depends on who the person is.
Okay, now, based on that, a kid trying to get his basketball, that's insinuating that he's going to go home.
Even if he stayed. My backyard isn't so important and I'm willing to kill somebody for it.
So you're not gonna get pissed off if he starts eating all your vegetables that you're growing in your backyard?
Maybe I would help. Maybe I would demand he work.
Steals your land more? What if he steals your lawnmower? What if he steals your lawnmower because he needs money?
Why do we have to assume he's only coming to do bad things?
Because he's coming in correctly.
Okay.
You sneak in, if you're sneaking, you're being sneaky. If you're being sneaky, you're doing wrong.
So you feel that every immigrant that has entered this country illegally came here to do wrong?
I believe every person that comes in here illegally is shady. And if you're shady, you're capable of doing wrong, yes.
You realize how many people that have gotten amnesty under the Reagan administration that were actually good people? The only crime they committed was coming here illegally. After that, they didn't do anything wrong. You don't see any of those people?
Do you you understand how many immigrants come over here and join gangs so that they can be kept safe, so that they can be kept hid, that end up doing bad shit because of it?
Do you believe most immigrants come here and do that?
If they're sneaking in,
Yeah.
I don't see why you would. I don't see if you were coming here to start a new life, if you were going to Australia to start a new life because America fell apart, there's nothing that you wouldn't do to make sure you did it correct so that you never got kicked out.
What if doing it correct was not available to me? What if I couldn't afford it? What if the line was so long doing it correct took 20 years?
It took me 20 years to start my own plumbing career.
So if America's falling apart and I'm trying to better myself and it takes 20 years to go somewhere else, I should just treat it like your plumbing career and deal with it for 20 years. Huh?
You have to. If you want to do things in life the right way, if you want to do it, and again, I'm going to express this because I listened to her and I sympathized with her and I felt bad that she's going through this, but it's not her fault. It's her husband's fault. Her husband's the one that did wrong here, right? So that being said, well, it's Tim. If you sneak in my backyard and I tell you get a freebie, go home, get out of my backyard. Next time we're gonna be. I don't know why we always end up fighting, Tim, but I think it serves us best to have this like this so that people in the comments can actually see where I'm coming from. If you come in my backyard, first time I tell you to leave, next time you're getting your ass whooped. And let's pretend I'm 6'7", just like bigger than you. Let's say I'm bigger than you.
Okay.
Okay, because America's bigger than most of the countries as far as the military goes.
Okay.
I tell you, you come in like this again, two things are going to happen. You're either going to go to jail or you're going back and you're going to stay away for 10 years. Are you going to come back to my yard the wrong way, or are you going to come to my backyard through the front door by knocking on it and coming in the correct way?
It depends on the level of desperation. If it takes me 20 years to get to the porch to knock on your door, and I'm desperate, I'm going to come around the back again and take my chances. That's just how it is.
Yep. So there you just said it right there. You're taking a chance by doing something illegal that you might catch a bullet, you might catch a jail sentence, and you might be deported with your American wife for 10 years. Yeah. You're taking a risk with more than just your life. Now you're fucking with your wife's life.
Yeah. And I think that what you're stating is how a lot of folks on the right, my beloved MAGA, feel the same way you do. And it's also why she stated that Trump and folks on the right do not have a heart. Your position, while you are defending the border, you are defending the law, it is fairly heartless in the way you're doing it.
No, it's very, very selfless. I'm taking care of more than just my backyard. I'm taking care of my entire family, i.e. America.
You're basically telling her plight is meaningless to you. I'm taking care of America. I'm taking care of my family. I'm taking care of the border. What I'm going through don't mean a damn thing to me.
Nope, it all boils down to responsibility, Tim.
That's heartless. That's the
definition. It's responsibility, Tim.
20 years.
It's responsibility.
Okay.
What it boils down to is responsibility. You're responsible. I heard you yesterday talk about never using drugs, never using alcohol, never jumping with the gang crowd, never doing illegal shit. You don't have a rap sheet. I'm proud of you for that because you've made responsible decisions.
Yeah, but if I slipped up, there's still a such thing as being sympathetic versus heartless.
I'm very sympathetic, but still,
you don't sound like it.
Go the right way.
What is your definition? You don't sound sympathetic at all.
Oh well, I mean, to those who are looking for a bleeding heart, I'm not going to.
Right. That's lacking sympathy. What you're doing is following the law. You're black and white about the law. You break the law, you get this. There is no in between. That is lacking sympathy.
See, and this is what I don't like about American language. I mean, yeah, you can use that word, but it's not. It's not lacking sympathy.
What does sympathy mean to you?
That I can sympathize with what you're going through because I've been through it. Empathy is I can understand what you're going through based on some similar experience.
Okay. But I'm not going to do it.
That's definition.
Basically, I feel sorry what you're going through, but I'm not going to do a damn thing to make your life better.
No, because there's nothing that I can do until you do the stuff to make it the right way.
Yeah, and if that takes 20 years long after I've retired from my job, so be it. I'm not going to do anything to help you out. Go do it the right way, no matter how long that takes.
because I'm responsible for me and you're responsible for you, Tim. I'm not responsible for anything that you do. I'm not responsible for any choice that you make. I'm not responsible for any one of your emotions. I'm responsible for mine.
And somehow you believe what you're saying has sympathy in it.
No, I didn't say that. I was being sympathetic in my statement. I was saying I feel sympathy for her. I feel bad that her husband didn't love her enough to do it the right way.
Yeah. To me, what you're saying sounds like going to a school shooting and offering the parents thoughts and prayers. Yeah, it's sympathy. It's useless, though. That's what it sounds like. My thoughts and prayers go out to you for your loss.
What more can I offer? What more can I offer? I didn't pull the trigger. I wasn't at your school.
You could offer residency.
Why?
Because you're sympathetic to the cause.
I pay taxes so that there's social economic assistance for those who can't afford it.
All right, that's lacking sympathy, Julio.
But it might be lacking sympathy, Tim, but it's whole ass truth.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree that 100% is what you're saying there.
That's all we need to do. If we're not talking truth, we're talking shit.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I do got to move it on. Look, TikTok is just awful today. I don't know. It's locking up again. I'm going to ask you to drop out. I may have to reset. I don't know. It's so bad today. It's not having any sympathy for me, DJ Julio. TikTok has no sympathy, no empathy for me. Maybe I entered the app illegally. I don't know.
So what probably happened is they don't want us to quit talking. They're like, oh, right, now we're going to get some damn good conversation going.
Possible.
We're crying on each other's shoulders, and we're going to work something out today, god dang it.
Possible, but I do got other people waiting to get in, Julio. Appreciate you coming in.
I know how to drop out, so I'm going to say goodbye and have a good day.
Thank you. I don't know if him dropping out is going to work. We'll see if it does. Okay, he did drop out. The app is frozen for a minute. Looking on the comments on YouTube, he got a point. Yeah, he got a ton of points. What he's saying is not incorrect. You break the law, there's a price to pay. But what he is saying, in my opinion, reminds me of the mandatory minimums during the war on drugs, where if you're caught with a certain amount of drugs on you, there's a mandatory minimum, no sympathy. You do this, this will happen to you. And then you had a bunch of judges saying, look, this is his first offense. You know, he hasn't been in trouble ever in his life. He's a good kid. All your family is here. I really don't want to lock you up for 5 years. But the politicians have passed a mandatory minimum, so I don't have any say-so. Even the courts were admitting that some of the laws lack sympathy. It took away the power for a judge to be able to do his namesake, which is judge. Let me look at the defendant and see if this punishment fits this individual. But because you got a mandatory minimum now, we ain't got no choice. Like in her case, the woman there living in Mexico, because her husband entered the country twice illegally, 10 years. Was he getting in any trouble while he was here? Doesn't matter. He came in twice. There is no sympathy. Do this, get that. It's a black and white law. So I'm not a fan of it. And I can totally understand the woman saying that because of it, she now votes against Trump because the lack of heart that Trump has had is affecting her directly. Maybe if it was someone else and her husband was at home with her, she may still be voting for Trump. I don't know. But she's voting against him now. TikTok is completely frozen with me in one of the weirdest faces here. So I'm going to try to reset the app once again on YouTube, on TikTok. It's been a bad day for this. I don't know why. Looking at the comments here. Yeah, they came across the border. They snuck across. They're being sneaky. They're doing wrong. Outlaw Josie Wells. That is true. You entered the country illegally. What I disagree, though, particularly with my last caller, is the suggestion that if you enter America illegally, you're going to come in the country and commit a bunch of crimes or join MS-13. I don't believe there's any evidence of that being even remotely valid, that the overwhelming majority of folks who enter this country illegally then become gang members and career criminals. But that is how Trump phrases it. They're not sending us their best and brightest, they're sending us their rapists and murderers. I assume some of them are good people. That does lead to people getting injured, in my opinion. That's dangerous. On the right, they have to learn empathy like Cheney. Don't quite get that comment. How many terrorists are coming across? Kevin O'Leary, we don't know, but it is possible folks who mean harm to America could be coming across. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I do disagree with is essentially saying that all of them are going to do that. They're not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us their rapists and murderers. That is not a true statement. Yeah, because the correct statement would be, because you're not properly vetting these people, we don't know. Some rapists, murderers, child predators, anybody could be coming in our country. Because you're not vetting them properly, anybody bad could be coming here. That would be the proper statement. As Kevin O'Leary says, it takes a few. But to automatically state that most of them are harmful is not true. You don't have anything to back that up other than, in my opinion, a sheer hatred for immigrants. There's no evidence that they're all rapists and murderers. Could be. They actually could be coming here to do that. But there's no evidence of it happening. So you can't just make the leap without the evidence. That's my personal opinion. TikTok back on. Appreciate those who have been holding on. Really, really problematic today. Freezing, locking, making it difficult. I did reset it. See, folks are saying frozen, things like that. 80 billion crossed just today. 80 billion illegal immigrants, more than humans on the planet, just entered America today. What is it, like 7 billion people on Earth or something like that? Somehow, some way, 80 billion entered the country just today. Scott, and I see in the comments on YouTube, Trick says he hates illegal immigrants. I see a lot of evidence to suggest that might be valid, to suggest that really may be valid. I'm trying on YouTube, on TikTok, once again, to bring up a guess. How did the number change just 480,000 last month, and now we got millions? Because if you change it, you scare the shit out of people. What if the movie Bombshell was written about Fox News, and they stated that for a story to make it on Fox News, it has to piss off your grandpa and scare the shit out of your grandma. That's the typical Fox News story. A story that pisses off your grandpa and scares the shit out of your grandma. I don't know if that's true, but I think it fits the narrative for a lot of them. Real bad problems on TikTok. Real bad. About 8.1 billion on Earth. Okay. 8.1 billion on Earth says U.S. Marines. Thank you for your service. So apparently 80 billion couldn't cross the border yesterday, huh? That's what happens when you bring Fulio into the box. Man, I want to talk to some more people, but I'm trying. So you like 100,000 deaths from illegals bringing drugs across the border. Dallas, does that say Dallas in the comments? 100,000 deaths from illegals bringing drugs across the border. How many of you folks believe that if we got our border under control so that we did not have so many illegals coming in this country, it would become difficult to get high? How many folks believe that? That if the border was properly secure, you would not be able to get access to narcotics? Under Trump, did you hear it? Because Trump suggested that he had the border secure as hell. Under President Trump, did you hear folks suggesting that there was a drought on cocaine, a drought on heroin, fentanyl? It was hard to get marijuana because Trump had the border secure. Did anybody hear about that? I didn't. The idea that under Biden, you got tons of drugs coming in, and if you had Trump back in the White House, the border would be under control. Hell no. People got high under Trump. You really think, keep in mind, The reason you have drugs in this country is not because of illegal immigrants. It's because of the American demand for the shit. As long as you got millions of folks with money demanding product, you always gonna have somebody willing to serve them. If you secure the border, they'll find a congressman, they'll find a senator they can pay millions of dollars to help sneak the shit in. As long as there is a demand for those products, same thing with human trafficking. They're not bringing victims here and forcing Americans to engage in sex acts with. No, the Americans have a demand for that shit. Everything the cartel sells, the Americans are demanding to purchase it. That's why it's here. Because if there is a buyer, there will always be a supplier. You're not going to get rid of drugs by shutting down the damn border. It's just not going to happen. Because border security, politicians, law enforcement will all realize, well, shit, I can make a fortune, says this cartel member, if I bring over a whole pickup truck full of kilos. It's always going to happen. You're not going to secure the border when there's billions of dollars on the other side saying, I want to buy the shit you're selling. It's never going to happen. And under President Trump is a perfect example. People were getting fucked up on drugs just like they are now. You're not going to stop that by putting President Trump back in office. That is comical. Trump affiliated with the Playboy Mansion, hung around Epstein, hung around the Clintons, hung around Bill Cosby. You think Trump ain't been around some drugs in his life? Are you kidding me? I'm not saying that he did them, but he damn sure was around them himself. You got to be kidding me to think that Trump is going to secure the border to the point where fentanyl and drugs won't come in this country. Wow. Red Dawn Radio. You're never going to get rid of drugs with the huge demand in this country. Red Dawn, good afternoon.
Good to talk to you again.
Okay.
You mentioned Israel before. I'm a dual citizen, served in the IDF. Right now I'm in America, but I spent 10 years of my life there. I support cutting off funding to Israel.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. It gives Israel's enemies a reason to justify, some of the things that happen. Look, America gives you money, and then you guys build the weapons, so it just gives them it's like a whole side talking point that they get into. But also, I know that Israel can take care of its own.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe Israel currently is going overboard?
I believe they're doing the best they can do in a really bad situation. It's such a CQB, so it's close quarters combat, but to the max. And unfortunately, H group, hummus, the TikTok friendly term, they blend right in with everybody.
But is it really enough of them at this point for Israel to be still claiming that this is an act of self-defense? I mean, they got to be fighting a handful of guys at this point.
Well, the latest that I've heard is that most of them are concentrated in Rafah. And see, this is the thing. All the civilians were told to go to Rafah. Israel calls phones. They drop leaflets. They do lots of different things to try and evacuate people before they're coming in for the bad guys. And what they do is they just blend in and they walk out of the cities with the innocent people, and then take military strongholds in the next place they go to.
Okay.
It's a proven tactic. They've been doing this for years.
Yeah. In my opinion,
the size of the London Underground, by the way.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In my opinion, though, it's kind of like America trying to get rid of ISIS or trying to get rid of Al Qaeda. Can you really ever get rid of Hamas?
No, and I'll tell you, because I don't want to get into it because I don't want to hurt people's. It's not even has to do with Islam. It doesn't have to do with that. I have many friends that are Muslim. It has to do with the identity of the Palestinian people themselves. But I don't want to really. I don't know if you want to hold that forum here.
Well, let me ask it to you this way. Many have suggested that what is being done to the Palestinian people is akin to having them live in an open air prison. What say you?
I would say that's just far from the truth. There's 4-star resorts there. There's water parks. There's
Can they leave?
$1 million palaces there. Yes, they can get out. In fact, you know, a lot of the ones that are here in America that you've talked to, I'm sure you've talked to them on lives before.
Yeah.
They got out. They can also, and unfortunately, Egypt plays a hand in this problem, but Egypt won't let them out unless they bribe the border guards. But Egypt will not take any of the refugees right now. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Strict policy. Nobody comes in from Gaza.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing that they don't have passports. They obviously don't have an airport. That Israel controls the comings and goings of the folks in Gaza, whereas they are completely dependent. You control the lights and the utilities. You control everything that's there.
Well, there was a desalination plant. So in 2005, Israel did like a unilateral withdrawal from the entire place. We actually dug up, people's graves, which is sacrilegious for Jews, and that's the extent we went to try and give them a country, a place that they could call their own. And H Group blew up the desalination plant.
So I remember
piping for the water. Sorry to interrupt. The pipes, they've actually dug that up and turned them into rockets.
Wow. So
they are the problem for the.
Yeah, but I remember Obama during his term being in Israel and on the world stage suggesting that the Israelis were constantly encroaching on Palestinian land, putting settlements up, making their area of residence smaller and smaller. Is any of that true?
So that's another complex issue, like everything else when it comes to this topic. So Yasser Arafat and Yitzhak Rabin, who was actually eventually was unalived by an Israeli because of his stance on trying to make peace, they came up with the thing called the Oslo Accords, right? And what it did is it turned the West Bank into 3 different areas: Area A, B, and C. It's extremely complex the way they've drawn up the areas, but basically, long story short, one of them belongs to strictly Palestinians, and I've seen the entranceway. It has a sign up there in Arabic that says, if you're Israeli and you come in here, you'll probably be, unalived.
Yeah.
Then there's area for Jewish people and settlers, and then there's an area in a place called Hebron, which is a highly contested religious site that's kind of shared between the two of them. But drawing the lines in something like this is so difficult. So it's not true. I know there's videos of people out there that claim to have their houses taken by Israeli settlers. It's just one of the things I'll give to Hamas is they are masters at propaganda. Their propaganda.
So what do you think? What do you think Hamas wants? If you're saying they're lying about everything, what is their goal?
So let me say it this way. This is the topic I didn't want to get into, but I think we'll get into in this form. People like them, or just Hamas in general, I don't want to get you alive in trouble. They do not believe that the Jewish people have any right being in that land. They don't want it. Now they say, oh, well, we don't have a problem with Jews being there. It's just Zionism. Well, inherently, if you're Jewish, you're a Zionist because you believe that Israel is your homeland. Doesn't that make sense? So they don't want anybody there, and they don't want to live next to a Jewish state. They just don't want to do it. They look at that as an encroachment on their religious beliefs,
right,
which is that Jerusalem is, their third holiest city, and that it should be for them. And by the way, it was Jordan up until 1960.
So what are you suggesting, that the goal of Hamas is to just get rid of Israel?
If they had unfeathered capabilities, yes, they would do that.
Okay. Well, we know they don't. We know they're underwhelmed in terms of underarmed and things. There's no chance at all where Hamas, even with Hezbollah helping them, could ever get rid of Israel. You're telling me they want to do the unthinkable, the impossible.
It would be impossible now, but I'm telling you that in their deranged minds, they think that they have some shot. That's why they flew paragliders in, thinking they were going to land in Jerusalem on top of the Dome of the Rock and take back what belongs to them anyway. Yeah. The Temple Mount belongs to them anyway. They're just deranged. Now,
you said you served with the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF, correct?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So at the end of the day, what is the end goal? I mean, will this go on forever?
I think that I think that the war that's being waged right now, there's a side of me that says, yeah, this is going to be for the better because we'll get rid of the extremist group known as Hamas. But then at the same time, I don't think it really changes anything. I think it just, draws the boundaries and the separation between our people even further.
I don't see how in this ongoing conflict at this point, where almost all of the casualties is happening either to Hamas or innocent Palestinians. I don't see how this is not creating more Hamas.
It most definitely will. Just as we created, we've created, in many of the things that the United States has been involved in.
Yeah.
We've created, we left behind even a more radical situation.
Right.
There.
Right.
But it's tough. It's a really tough thing. I will say though, anything that's a war crime, if it's committed by Israel, I would 100% support that person that committed it, that soldier, being court-martialed, which we have a system of holding our soldiers accountable there. And I would support them serving whatever punishment they deserve.
Yeah, there's a lot of terrible. In fact, seven relief food workers just got killed. What was that, day before yesterday? There's a lot of terrible footage coming out of them. When we were in Iraq, I'm going to assume we were making some of the same mistakes or whatever you want to call them and just not televising it here. But what your people are doing in Israel, it's being televised. So you're not getting away with it.
Don't forget, 3 weeks ago, not to cut you off here. 3 weeks ago, they brought in an aid truck from Egypt, and it was an Egyptian driver, and the Palestinians threw rocks at him and unalived him.
Jesus.
And Egypt said, "That's it, we're done. We're not doing it anymore." So, wow. And that's the whole thing I don't like about it. It's a tit for tat thing. It's like, oh, well, they did it, and then now we had to do it. For whatever reason, Israel dropped a kaboom boom on somebody's convoy or something. It's just war, man. It's war, and worse. Anybody who's been through it, it's hell. It's hell on earth. And had they not done what they did on October 7th, the civilians, the innocent people there would not be exposed to the hellfire that Israel's raining down on Gaza right now.
Yeah, but I do, in my own personal opinion, though, I believe at this point what Israel is doing is no longer an act of self-defense. It's punitive. I mean, the resistance they're getting from Hamas has got to be minimal at best. If Israel went back into Israel and secured its area, how much flack are you going to be receiving? Just like America, once we left the Middle East, you're not being attacked by ISIS or Al-Qaeda much. It's because you're in their homeland.
Right. For now.
Yeah.
Eventually, the way things are going, I believe we'll see it here. But I know the point you're making.
Yeah.
I think that they're trying to send a message, and they're also trying to establish a Hamas-free Gaza Strip, and get some sort of.
But you've already admitted you can't get. You've already admitted you can never get rid of Hamas.
I don't think you can get rid of that ideology. If everybody pitches in, so here's the thing I also call for. The Arab nations need to get more involved in this. Okay, Jordan doesn't do anything for them. Lebanon doesn't do anything for them. Syria, nothing. We know Egypt doesn't do anything for them. If we had a coalition of countries come together and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take all of the innocents, the refugees, out of the country or out of the Gaza Strip for the moment. Let the combatants continue doing their thing, but nobody's coming together. I don't see the unity within the Muslim countries for Gaza.
So at the end of the day,
sort of interim government there, with maybe Egypt taking place or taking part of that, and just some sort of coalition of different groups of international.
I don't think Israel would want that to happen, because now if they all they're already about to team up. Israel, because it wouldn't surprise me if Israel had a terrorist attack at the behest of any country in the Middle East right now, because they're all pissed off. But what I want to ask you in closing, because I do got to move it on, but last question I want to ask you is, who is going to fix that area once this is over? I mean, they've bombed and destroyed everything. They don't have any infrastructure, any residences, any dwellings. Who's going to repair all of that? They destroyed every damn thing.
Right. I'm not high enough in the plans to know. I would like to hope that it would be It will be rebuilt as fast as possible once it's said and done. But I do know that Larry Fink and BlackRock have a contract in Ukraine to rebuild the Ukraine. When that finishes, maybe he can do it there too. I don't know. But I wanted to say one thing about the border.
Real quick.
Okay, so sympathy and empathy. The young lady who was recently unalived, right? By a migrant, an illegal migrant. Is there not any empathy for her family and what they're going through?
Yeah, that's why it's on TV every day.
Right. So I just wanted to make sure that
Okay. All right.
You were consistent with that.
Yeah, it's on. What the problem with the woman, the nursing student that was killed by an illegal immigrant down in Georgia, the problem with that is what I've been stating over the last few days is that Trump is portraying the illegal immigrants as all being rapists and murderers, yet they keep showing the same murder over and it should be a different person getting murdered every damn hour. If 10 million rapists and murderers came into this country.
But there are. In Florida, less than a year ago, a man was hacked up by MS-13 guys. He was just an Uber Eats driver.
Yeah, I did a video on it. It put him in garbage bags. I actually did a video on that guy.
Yep, and then you remember Kate Steinle. It happens. It's just it doesn't get.
Yeah, but you're talking, but Don, you're talking 10 million illegal immigrants, and you're talking a handful of victims.
Sure, and I'm sure the situation that wonderful lady's husband went through is probably a handful of people. I mean, at the end of the day, how many of them get deported back to their country and get reprimanded for? And I meant to tell you too. I'm also married to an immigrant. We had to do it the right way. It costs a lot of money. It's very difficult, but we made sure that we followed the rules. And
because you had the money, because you actually had the money.
We had to work very hard.
But you had the money. You were able to get. These folks don't have the option of doing that.
I understand, and I wish them the best, and I don't have a problem with immigrants coming. That's not why I brought it up. I just want people to realize that within the ranks of the good people that are coming through, there's some pretty bad hombres coming through, if you want to use Trump's word. And also,
does he have your vote? Does he?
It's not empathy either.
Does he have your vote? Does Trump have your vote?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, Red Don Radio. Good talk.
All right, thank you.
A pleasure, man.
Yes,
pleasure.
sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Looking in the comments real quick. He called them animals. What did that say? TikTok still freezing up. And if it was your family member's host, you might feel completely different to empathy. I guess that's what you're saying. If it was my family that an illegal immigrant murdered, yeah, I would feel differently. I would definitely feel differently. Just like if my family went through anything, if the police hurt a family member of mine, I would probably hate most police. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but that's not how the country is ran, where where everybody is viewing things that way. Nothing would ever get done if everybody viewed what happened to one person like everybody else is doing that. I'm just simply saying the numbers do not reflect Trump's statement that illegal immigrants are rapists and murderers. Why not stick to what my man just said? It's happened in a few cases, or like he said, if it was your family member, maybe that's more factual than suggesting they're not sending us their best and brightest, they're sending us a bunch of rapists and murderers. That's not true. What you guys are saying in defense of Trump is more factual than what Trump himself is saying. There's no evidence to suggest that most of the immigrants coming in this country are rapists and murderers. It is very similar to a lot of folks, and I said I'd go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. A lot of my folks, particularly my beloved MAGA, a year or two ago, were suggesting that vaccinated people were going to die. There's no evidence of that. And a lot of them same folks are suggesting where they're hiding the bodies. Very similar to rapists and murderers. They just don't televise it. 10 million people came in this country illegally, and they're murdering people right and left, and the liberal media is somehow doing a really good job at hiding the deaths of thousands of Americans. Just like with the vaccination. 150 million Americans have been vaccinated. A bunch of them are perishing, and the hospitals, clinics, the liberal media is hiding literally millions of deaths. I have a hard time believing that stuff. I really, because I believe in both cases, whether we're talking border or we're talking vaccine, you would have people, whistleblowers, speaking out. I just do. Looking in the comments, for me, bad that happens has nothing to do with citizenship status. The fact is that person is bad. I don't quite get that, but let me go back to the comments. What do you think about the shingles vaccine? I'm not a virologist. I don't know shit about medicine. I'm willing to admit ignorance. I don't know much about the medical community at all. But I know we do have doctors. If the overwhelming majority of the medical community suggests that something is beneficial for me, I got to go with that. I don't have any other educated opinion to counter that with. Most of the folks suggesting that Dr. Fauci, for instance, didn't know what the hell he was talking about, had no medical background at all. None at all. Meanwhile, Dr. Fauci's been dealing with viruses since since HIV became known. 30, 40 years he's been dealing with viruses. And people who happen to be regular city bus drivers and garbage men are talking about he don't know what the hell he's talking about. That didn't make any sense to me. I'm just going to say that made no sense to me. If he didn't know who he was if he didn't know what he was talking about, go get me a surgeon general. Go get Ben Carlson or somebody. At least he does have a medical background. But when you got somebody like Trump up there suggesting I know more about COVID than anyone, that's just a bunch of bullshit to me. No, you don't. You don't know anything about medicine. You don't have a history of dealing with viruses. You're just feeding us a bunch of bullshit. I'm having major problems here. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to keep the program going because the TikTok app is so problematic. Suspicious activity review. And that's on Outlaw Josie Wells. For those who want, there is an explanation on my channel between the conflict between Hamas and Israel. Problem is you don't know who's telling you the truth. You can get information all over the place. Hell, we got people in 2024 still giving us a different definition for why the Civil War happened in the 1700s. So your channel may have your opinion on what happened, or you use somebody who you favor for research that may be completely different than what everybody else thinks. And I just want to say that. Can you hear me in the box there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's my feed is frozen. I don't even get to see the damn person I picked. What is your name? It doesn't even show me who I put in there.
Big Rooster.
Big Rooster. Oh, I appreciate it. So what do you think? You've been listening in. What am I getting wrong? I'm sure I'm getting a hell of a lot of this wrong.
Nah, you ain't getting nothing wrong, Tim. I mean, you got people that's gonna believe what Trump says. You know, it's funny when you like Julio, whatever his name, DJ Julio.
Yeah.
I don't know if DJ Julio knows, but every 6'7" guy can't whoop everybody's ass.
That is true. That is so. But he was joking though. He was joking about that.
I know. I get it. But still, let's not use a bad example like that.
Okay.
But listen, if Trump says it, they believe it. We ought to, at this point, we ought to just say it. You know?
Wait, but what are you saying, MAGA? What are you suggesting that MAGA are sheep?
I want to go further than sheep. I mean, they hook, line, and sinker. You know what I'm saying?
That bad?
You could put them. Yeah, you could put them on the bottom of anchor and throw them in, and they could believe they can survive.
Damn.
That's how bad they are.
So, but what about what they were pointing out, that immigrants have killed folks, have victimized folks? We got this squatters law now because immigrants are squatting in people's houses, making it hard to get them out. I mean, some of them are committing crimes.
Yeah, hey, listen. But how many Americans commit crimes as well? You got more Americans that kill more Americans than immigrants all day.
Yeah.
Nobody's complaining about that. I'm guessing they think that's okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, just because Americans are committing crimes don't mean you turn a blind eye to the border.
No, but I'm saying what I'm saying though, Tim, is you got average everyday Americans killing other Americans, and nobody's complaining about it. But the second immigrant kills an American, it's the biggest problem in the world. How many immigrants kill Americans compared to Americans killing Americans?
Oh, it's minuscule. Yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
Yeah, it's minuscule.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, you say one thing, just like when Trump said he spoke with the girl's family. That was the girl's sister came in and said he didn't even call their family. He spoke to no one in the family. But everybody on TV thinks that Trump spoke with him.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, exactly.
So the woman who was murdered by an immigrant down in Georgia, the nursing student, Trump stated that he spoke with her family, and the family came forward and said that's a lie.
The sister came forward and said that's a lie. He spoke to no one in the family.
Why would he do that?
Well, listen, because it's on TV, right? And when you believe what you see,
That's horrible.
yeah. But remember, Trump says everything is fake news, though, right?
Yeah, and he's participating in fake news with that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Why would he do that?
Exactly.
Wow.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So now you got all these people saying that everything Trump has done was right. Now a lot of people, the caller who said her husband got deported, a lot of people didn't even pay attention. She said her husband was paying taxes. They gathered all their information, go down to apply for citizenship, and what happens? Everybody said, oh, he wasn't paying taxes. Well, the woman just told that she had proof that they were paying taxes.
Well, nobody cares about the taxes. The fact is, he entered the country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I understand it.
Yeah.
I get it. But at the same time, people in the comments were saying, "Oh, he didn't pay taxes." This and that. No, man. The woman just told.
Let me just say this in regards to the paying taxes and things like this. This is what I often go into on the show, is that America is because folks talk about if we didn't give money to the Ukraine and help wars and shit, we could do more for our own people. And I often say that America is money oriented, and that's all we give a damn about. Almost every problem we have, do you notice people are complaining that it's a problem because of money? This costs too many taxes. Don't do that because that costs them. You got people out here saying that you should execute people quicker because it saves tax money. Everything we do, like, damn, are we that fucking greedy? Are we that money hungry in this damn country that everything is money oriented?
Yes, we are. This is a money-driven country. You know it, Tim.
Oh my God.
I live in California. I hear people complain about taxes. And listen, I vote blue all the time, but I don't like our governor. This man will stick a tax on anything.
Come on, Gavin Newsom.
Yes, sir. That man will stay. If you want to twist your doorknob, if he could put a meter on your doorknob, he will.
Well, he could be president, though.
Listen, and the bad thing is I'm going to vote for him because I think all Republicans are scumbags.
Wow. Why so? Why do you think that?
Because listen, man. Let's just say this. Let's look at yesterday, right? The head of the police association in Michigan, right, endorsed a guy that is running for president that has been indicted. How many times?
Yeah, 88 right now.
Okay. Not only that. Now this guy caused an insurrection, which a lot of people say he didn't, but he did. We all saw it. He caused an insurrection. You got guys there beating police officers. These are your brothers, right?
Yeah.
Right? Back to blue. Ain't that what
That's a really good point. That what happened on January 6th was a bunch of folks. Yeah, I don't. But they don't blame Trump for any of that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But they saw it though. It ain't like they didn't see it, Tim. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't speak ill of that. I can't say I don't have any comeback for that.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is now you got these idiots going up here endorsing. Now, how do you feel? How do your brothers feel about this? Wait a minute, man. These dudes almost killed your brother, your fellow brethren. But you go and you.
Well, Sam, I will say, and I see in the comments on YouTube, Tommy Brown says Trump is king, got a picture of the crown. I will say this, that when it comes to Trump, it's kind of funny. I agree, because Trump has a unique position where he can, like Ted Cruz, you're talking about the police endorsing a guy, that had a bunch of police officers or Capitol police officers beaten. Ted Cruz, he talked about his wife, and now you out here endorsing them. It does baffle me that some folks support Trump when he don't launch these very personal attacks at them, and they're willing to overlook that.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think you said his name wrong. I think you mean Flag Cruz. I think you mean. I often wonder, like, what is your wife telling her girlfriend? Like, damn. Exactly. Exactly. You listen, man. If a man disrespects my wife, he got to deal with me first.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I mean, oh my goodness. Like, let's go with our truly dear brother that grew up in poverty, Tim Scott. How about I love you? How about I just say I love you? What in the hell was that all about?
Well, in defense of Tim Scott, without Trump, he has no career. I mean, he got appointed by Nikki Haley. She is no longer worth. He's doing it. He's putting politics over principle. That's what a lot of them are doing.
I get it, Tim, but don't sell your soul, bro.
Too late.
Don't sell your soul.
Too late. That soul is gone. That soul is gone. That's kind of like Patrick Swayze and Ghost, where them little things come and get you. That soul is gone.
Hey, Tim, I don't want to just depart by saying this, man. I love your show, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I love the fact that you give these guys this opportunity to come up and really make a fool of themselves. And I'm not saying there's not anything wrong with that.
Some suggest that I'm the one that's making a fool of myself,
No. You're doing a good thing here, man, because you're giving the rest of the population that watches, I'm watching on both YouTube and TikTok, and you give us a way to find out who the real, true sheep / what I call idiots. All of them got 100% on the ID10T test. A lot of people don't know when I say that. They all got 100% on that.
All right.
I just want to say, hey, brother, thank you for what you're doing, man. And I'm gonna keep supporting, and I'm gonna keep listening, and I'm gonna keep staying on these fools' head in YouTube. I'll let you have the TikTok side of it.
I do appreciate that, Big Rooster. Always a pleasure. My door's always open to you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. And one of the questions we asked, by the way, on the program was, I think it's common knowledge that one of the goals of former President Trump with those 88 charges he's dealing with is to delay the system so that he can hopefully regain power in the White House and essentially, thank you for that hat and mustache, essentially interfere with his own court case. And what I was asking in the comments is it corrupt for a politician to interfere with his own court proceedings, to actually interfere with his own court case? Do you see that as being corrupt? Julio, is that corrupt?
Somehow.
Is that corrupt?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if he interferes with it, I'm not going to be very proud of the man.
Do you think he's capable of doing that?
Oh shit! I mean, if he's president, that would make him capable.
So if his goal is
I don't think he'll have to.
So if his goal, why don't you think he would have to?
Well, because I think that's all going to get dropped.
You think all 88 charges against President Trump will be dropped by the end of this year?
You remember our bet, $1,000 by August.
88 cases will all be dropped by President. They're not even going to go before the courts that soon.
No, they won't have to. You're going to watch a landslide of shit fall off like real soon. I would give it 3 weeks and you're going to start to see things just falling off.
Based on what?
Based on merit. There's nothing there.
You can't suggest there's nothing there if it hasn't went before the courts yet.
Exactly. That's the point I wanted to make. You can't call him guilty before he's before the courts.
And you can't call him innocent either.
No, but you can call him Donald Trump and he's running for president.
You can do that. You can do that. But I do disagree that 88 cases are going to go away before the end of this year. I believe it is more likely what many folks believe, that he is trying to become president and delay those proceedings so he gets in office. He can then move around prosecutors, play mix and match with politicians and things like that, and use the power of the office to suggest he can't be prosecuted. That's what I believe is more likely to happen.
I mean, that would be shitty. That would be shitty. But how are you going to respond if he jumps into the office and leaves everything alone, leaves everybody in place where they're at, and everything still gets dropped?
I would be holding live streams apologizing my ass off. If Trump became president and did nothing to interfere with his case, I would be on here eating crow. I mean, literally, I would shoot down a fucking bird and eat it on camera. Like, I cannot believe that he became president and he didn't interfere in anything. There's no way in hell I believe that's going to happen. Everybody that's on his case, from Jack Smith, Merrick Garland, all of them folks are going to get fired. Fonnie Willis, who was actually a state prosecutor, he's going to go after her. Letitia James is going to have problems. He's going to go after everybody.
Which is why I think it'll drop before then. I don't think anybody's going to want the recourse.
That would be amazing in my opinion.
And listen, do I respect the man for what he did first term? Yes. If he gets convicted of this shit, I'm going to feel a certain way about him. I'm not going to be real proud of that man anymore.
What if he gets convicted of any of this stuff before becoming president? Would you still vote for him?
Depending on what he's being convicted for, yes. Like, give me an example, would you?
Well, right now, the most likely one would be that he paid off Stormy Daniels. That was about to start on April 15th with campaign funds.
See, I don't know if that would make me lose my vote, because, I mean, hell, all the movie stars and all the rappers, they all do it. They pay people off all the goddamn time.
Okay, what about his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, taking a immunity case? What if Mark Meadows came up and testified that Trump was trying to steal the election? Would that do anything?
If he got convicted of that, I would then lose respect for somebody who I thought was trying to actually make a change in America. Absolutely.
Do you find Mark Meadows as lacking credibility? I mean, if Mark, even before the conviction, if his own staff is on the stand testifying under oath that the man was cheating, that wouldn't make a difference. You need the conviction first.
I would need the conviction, because I don't know. Here's the shit thing about court cases, and my previous lives, I've explained a little bit of my past, so I have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to being convicted of stupid shit.
Okay.
It is amazing what prosecution will hold over your head to get you to say what they want you to say. You know, people say all the time that defendants and those people are the ones out making threats and making shit happen. That happens, but it also happens on the prosecution side. Mark Meadows, I don't know what his past is. Maybe he's got something in his closet that they got on him, and he has.
But why assume that? In what you're saying is very common. I hear a lot of folks, particularly Trump supporters, saying this. My point is this: why assume that anybody pleading guilty and testifying against Trump are doing it under duress? Maybe they actually did something wrong.
Or maybe they're trying to do what they have to lighten their load. I mean, it's not uncommon for people to you can't even call it whistleblower, to snitch to get themselves out of trouble. Even if they have no one to snitch on, they'll find someone. Fortunately, they're going after Trump, so they got a big fish in the pond. What can't you offer Mark? What couldn't you offer Mark Meadows to say what you wanted to say? That's my question.
But I don't see how if we viewed every defendant and gave them the benefit of the doubt like we do Trump, the criminal justice system would literally come to a halt, where any guilty plea, as opposed to believing that the criminal is pleading guilty to a crime they committed to get a lesser sentence, we automatically assume they're being railroaded because the prosecution is forcing them to do it. How can we ever get anything accomplished?
That's the burden of the court. You know, it's a hard game. Legal system is
How is it how is it the burden of the court? If you plead guilty, it's my burden to show that you actually had a real crime, even though if you plead guilty, you're the one that went to court and pled guilty.
I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying. It'd be like you're Mark Meadows saying that I'm guilty. You're pleading guilty so you can testify that I'm guilty of something when, in fact, I didn't do something.
I don't see how you can.
That's what I'm getting with the Mark Meadow in the legal correlation. What is he got? What is the state got that he's now going to plead guilty to something in order? Is he doing it to lessen his charge? Is he pleading guilty to?
That's exactly what he's doing. That's what most people.
Pleading guilty and going after Trump and saying what he has to in order so that they don't go after him for something else.
Yeah, well, we don't know that, but that's what I'm saying.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, but if that mindset is the prevailing mindset, no guilty plea in America could ever be taken at face value, because we could always say, what else do they have, or what are they using? I mean, you would never take a plea deal seriously, because it's
and they do that every day. They do that every day in the legal system.
Yeah.
So meeting my wife saved my life. Her family works in the justice system.
So let me ask you then: do you believe that most people taking plea deals in America are actually innocent?
I believe that a lot of people take a plea deal because they don't have a good enough defense to get them out of what they really didn't do. Yes.
Wow.
How many people do we know of in the last 10 years? How many people did Donald Trump free? And how many different cases have we seen over the last 3 years where people are getting out of jail after being there 20 years for something they didn't do?
But that leads me to ask this question, and I often ask this. If the justice system is that screwed up, why the hell do Trump supporters and Trump himself often tell minorities nothing will happen if you just comply? You're admitting the system is jacked up, but you're only admitting it when it happens to somebody you care about.
That's where your sympathy that we were talking about the last time I was up steps in and overrides what's right.
Yeah, and then we get Trump back in here, and it's going to go right back to blue, and if you comply, nothing will happen with you. Thanks for helping me out, though.
Well, what do you mean nothing will happen? I don't know what you're talking about when you say that.
The entire time Trump was president, you had all these Black Lives Matter uprisings and things like that during the summer of love. That's what they were complaining about, is the justice system is treating people of color wrong. Trump was on the other side. I'm the law and order party, holding up the blue striped flag. If you comply, nothing's going to happen to you. Now that it's happening to him, all of a sudden the FBI needs to go, the system can't be trusted. We put him back in, and he's going to go right back to Black Lives Matter is a terrorist outfit.
Listen, you know, I try just to have the conversation. I'm never trying to be a racist. I'm never trying to sound like it. I'm never trying to sound like humanity doesn't matter to me. But what I'll say to that is, I sat on the border of South Dakota with 3,000 people armed, waiting for them to come try to tear our town up.
Okay.
The fact that me and 3,000 friends or acquaintances felt like we had to protect our border ourselves from the rioters tearing up towns was sad in itself.
I don't get that, though, Julio, is that the rioters tearing up towns are viewed as criminal, but the ones tearing up the Capitol building are a love fest. What am I missing?
You can't do right by doing wrong.
So why are the people at the Capitol building considered as hostages, but the Black Lives Matter people are considered as terrorists? What am I missing?
Nothing got burnt down. People walked around.
They put cops in the hospital.
Yeah, you're right. There's nothing right about it. There was nothing
Then I'm asking that question. I'm asking you Let me repeat the question again. Why is it that Black Lives Matter is considered as terrorists, and the people who went in the Capitol building are referred to as hostages, a love fest? We love you, patriots. What's the difference?
Fact faction versus faction, nothing. Humanitarily speaking, there was some people that got hurt in a civil uprising where people felt like their government was being tyrannical.
You don't think Black Lives Matter, believing the police are mistreating black, you don't see them as thinking the government is being tyrannical as well?
I do, but the difference is there was nobody burning down buildings outside of that Capitol building.
They're beating cops. Is your litmus test just fire? They're beating up police.
My limit is I don't have a limit. I really don't have a limit. I just don't think that there was anything right. Black Lives Matter is a great cause. It's a great cause. I do not think that anybody should have to hold up a flag and say my melatonin level matters.
You got here. I'm still confused. The Capitol Police, the Capitol.
I don't believe that was 100% Republicans doing the damage. I think Antifa was a big part of that.
Why is Trump calling them patriots? Why is Trump calling them patriots and hostages?
Because let me stop this. Sorry about that. I was almost getting a call. Because Trump feels like they were standing up to a tyrannical government the same way that the people that were backing Black Lives Matter felt like the people that were participating in the riots, the looting, the burning of buildings, the just the mayhem they were causing, not just on the police, but their entire community.
But why are you calling? What's confusing me is you're saying it Republicans, it probably was Antifa. Why is Trump saying it was actual MAGA? They're hot. Trump was there that day. Not once has Trump suggested that was Antifa. He was there. Why do you have a different opinion than he does?
I'm just looking at the whole damn picture, I guess.
He was there seeing the whole damn picture, talking to him. He doesn't say Antifa at all. Why do you have a different opinion? You're watching it on TV. He's in front of the people.
Here's what I watched. I watched the rally. I watched the slow progression to the Capitol. I watched them let into the Capitol by Capitol Police.
All of them got in there by being let in.
Until they got to one of those doors, they weren't trying to let them in, and that's where that girl got shot. And then they ended up getting in that.
So nobody broke any windows or everybody got let in.
Well, they were trying to get to the doors. Yeah, there was windows being broke. I'm not denying that there was some bad actors there. I'm not denying that there was some chumps there. But what I am saying is that the majority of the people were there to stand up for what they thought was right. The same way Black Lives Matter did.
The building was closed.
Black Lives Matter did. Just let me finish this part, and I'll be done with that part. The same way that Black Lives Matter stood up for what they believed in. The biggest difference to me is one girl got shot by Capitol Police. Several cops got injured in the mayhem versus several cities in America getting damn near burned down. There's a big difference between uprising and protest and domestic terrorism. There's a big difference.
Here's the way I see it. To me, you sound like someone saying that you sound like O.J. Simpson saying that Jeffrey Dahmer killed more people. I mean, I didn't burn the towns. Yeah, one cop got his ass beat.
That's not even relatable.
You're admitting that violent felonies took place on January 6th, but in Black Lives Matter case, it was bigger felonies. More places burned. I mean, but what they did on January 6th were major felonies. It just wasn't as many of them as BLM. You do sound like O.J. Simpson saying that Jeffrey Dahmer killed more people than me.
Well, I don't believe O.J. Simpson killed anybody.
All right, Julio, I gotta go. You win.
No, I don't. I don't ever want it to be that way. All I'm trying to do is listen. I live my life. I bet really, really close to the way that you do. I bet you're kind to fucking everybody you run into.
I try to be.
You don't judge a single soul that you run into. If someone does you wrong, you probably put your hands up in the air the same way I'm going to and say, you know what?
now I know I'm not going to mess with you anymore.
But I don't call Black Lives Matter terrorists and look at what they did on January 6th and somehow say they're hostages. They're in jail because they did some violent shit. They're not hostages.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But what the point that I was trying to make is he felt good about what the majority did, not the minority did. In the same way that the leaders of the Black Lives Matter felt good about what the majority did, not the minority.
No, because Trump is calling the people that are, you don't see people who support Black Lives Matter actually favoring the people who are on TV burning down buildings. Trump is favoring the ones who have been convicted of a crime, not the peaceful protesters on the lawn. He is speaking favorably of the ones who actually are in prison.
Every one of those people that ended up in handcuffs that day, whether they broke something or walked in peacefully, went to jail. Everyone.
And he calls them hostages.
Right. So I would call somebody who went somewhere peacefully and didn't break nothing, kept their hands in their pockets. I would call them a hostage.
DJ, the building is closed. DJ, the building is closed.
They let them in.
No, DJ, you think everybody in the Capitol building, you think all of them folks are let in peacefully? All of them.
They opened up, I said again, I'll say it again. I said it once, I'll say it again. I don't think that every one of them was peaceful. No.
Okay. Which ones?
Let me
hang on, hold on. Which ones are Trump? Which ones? Because you said they're not all peaceful. Most of them, some of them. Which ones are Trump pointing out that's bad? I haven't heard Trump say one thing bad about anyone that was there that day.
I don't think that he did point out. I was talking merely from my perspective.
Okay, that's different. All right, fair enough. Trump makes it sound like everybody there that day did a good thing.
And if I was speaking, I don't know that I would segregate them either. I would say to those who went peacefully, you guys are heroes, and if you're locked up, you're hostages.
Oh my God.
And listen. But I would also say, me personally, I would also say, those of you that went in there and put hands on people, broke shit, defaced my government building, as a citizen, my government building. Fuck you. You're a criminal. You're a punk.
All right, I got to obviously move it on, but last question, I just want to ask you real quick. Ashley Babbitt, was that justified?
Remind me of Ashley Babbitt?
Ashley Babbitt is the Air Force veteran that tried to go through the window that was barricaded with chairs and shit on it, and they shot her. She was in the Capitol building trying to climb through a hole in the window and was shot by an African-American member of law enforcement and lost her life. I think she's the only person that died there that day.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember her name. That's when I said earlier that girl got shot by Capitol Police. I didn't remember her name. That's my bad.
Is that justifiable shooting?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. We ended on a good note. I can work with that.
They're all going into the backyard without permission.
Okay.
Some in that portion of the building. The other portions of the building they were getting let in because either they didn't want to deal with the mob, they didn't want to have altercation, so they were like, fuck it, I'm standing out of the way.
Okay. As long as you do believe that Ashley Babbitt was justifiable, we'll end on that. I do got to move it on though. Appreciate it, Julio.
You know how I feel about my backyard.
I see that. Damn. I won't come to your house unannounced. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got to restart the app. Nevertheless, folks, do appreciate you tuning in. Because I'm having so much trouble with the equipment, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Catch you tomorrow, 1 p.m.